But you gotta push to start that.
I want to share that easy. All right.
Okay, it's 9:01. We're gonna call the meeting to order. Roll call. Gary?
Here.
Mary?
Here.
Ken's here. Tara?
Here.
Jason?
Here.
Everyone's here.
Is there a printed agenda somewhere?
I can.
Or, I just wondered if there were printed agendas anywhere, just by chance. I usually print them ahead of time, but I did not. I'll just look on the,
You want me to go make some copies?
Yeah, I can send them to the printer.
thank you.
Approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented or changes?
Someday.
Don't we have to approve the last minutes from the last meeting?
Well, I need to be fully prepared and have time to look
It
at
hasn't
it.
been 10 days
I didn't think anyone had time to look at them.
or 8 days.
Business days.
You pick them up at the next meeting, the regular meeting.
Do you have to make record of that though? Because typically you do have to do it at the next meeting.
Should be.
You wanna just make a comment in there that they'll be done at the next meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with meeting minutes for last meeting and this meeting being approved at the next meeting.
That was a long motion.
I know. I haven't even drank this whole cup of coffee yet.
I'll second.
Well, we're waiting to.
Yeah, I was gonna wait for.
So it's gonna be written, it'll be, October, right?
September 16th.
And this meeting, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say we do 9 o'clock meetings more often. We have more audience than we normally do.
You wanna
It's
read
funny.
back Mary's motion that she made?
Move to
Shine light on
the
it.
agenda as presented, minutes from September 16th and 9/25 to be approved at the regular meeting in October.
Is that what you said, Mary? Yep. Can I get a second?
Second.
Gary seconded, so all in favor say aye.
Hi.
Ayes carry. I didn't have a public comment in here, but I guess we can take public comments at this time before we get into the meat of stuff. I think we're gonna probably allow comments as we go for each one of the items also, but instead of, it's kind of why I don't think we have public comments in here, but, well, anyone who has a public comment right now can have a public comment.
Karen?
None?
Go, come on. No, I was hoping that with it being a workshop format, that it would be more of a,
Yeah, I think we left it off for that reason.
but I know there's gonna probably be some disagreement on different things, and I'm just hoping you guys can all start with what you do agree upon, because I'm sure there are some of those things. And set your priorities, schedule capital improvements as you go. Consider consequences of delaying capital improvements. Change is hard for everybody, and there's kind of a natural resistance, but sometimes it becomes a blessing in disguise. And I think in the past, there's almost been a wall between the board and the fire department. I'm hoping maybe that wall comes down a little bit because they need each other. Of course, the board is not, they don't have the expertise to micromanage the emergency responses. That's not what their role is. But it is their role to manage all township services and all the budgets and employment. So, you know, hopefully everybody can get on the same page, I guess is what I'm hoping for. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on to the first line item, it's emergency service direction and strategy. We did get a email from JC this morning, and I would like to have that added to the record of this meeting. Or I sent you a copy right there.
If it's added to the record, it's probably not packet.
I didn't get it till this morning.
We just got it.
9:51
Yeah, the
a.m.
rest of us get a copy. Cause it's part of the meeting.
You saw that, right?
I did.
My comment you had.
Is it long?
No.
Did you get?
It's JC,
Yeah,
it's
we-
JCS,
we're
it's
on.
magnificent and to the point.
I was like- And I read it, I'm like,
I can
is he
feel him.
using Chat GT?
No, I can feel him walking.
Not a
us
big
through
part
it.
in it.
Like it was a PowerPoint, I could feel that,
Yeah.
so.
More than words, word of the day.
Yeah, right.
There it is.
Hey, Matt, you want an agenda?
Yeah, let it go. Morning. Have a seat.
Guys, I know Joe, I've probably heard your names, but I don't know that we've officially met. Could I get your names just so I could put names with faces? Cause I've heard lots of names.
Yeah, I can go first. Joe Brown, John Taylor Mackey, Captain.
Okay.
Fire Department.
Stuart,
Sorry, I didn't hear your chair squeak.
Stuart Yarborough.
Okay,
I'm just.
That's my dad.
okay. Hi, Dad. Thanks.
Roll.
It's a forever role. And then Matt Ashbrook,
Yep.
supervisor.
I'm just your partner to the east of you guys here a little bit, so we're gonna come to listen, observe and see kind of how this goes for you.
Supervisor Bloomingdale Township.
Yes.
I think Karen wanted a copy of it. Let me go back. Oh, Karen.
Thank you.
They kind of sound the same.
Big print. I don't even need my glasses.
Do we need to do one more?
I don't.
No, we don't need them.
You don't need them?
Anybody, Ruth?
Gary wants them.
I can go one.
Does anybody else have a picture?
I got the email.
I literally have it on my phone.
Yeah.
What is it? Jason's.
My agenda.
If anybody else needs one, just give me a holler.
Yeah.
What's next?
So we're at the point of D1, which is the board discussion on possible approaches for sustaining emergency service, including keeping current services, increasing funding, parting with neighbors, regional sharing service, just staffing models, career incentives and facility equipment upgrades. As we go down through this, we will probably get into some more detail about what we're gonna get into, but right now we want to kind of keep the discussion into that area about what possible approaches we have. Our financial situation with the fire department is we obtained 2 mills from a special
Assessment.
assessment. That 2 mills brings in about $240,000 a year. At our current budget, it appears that it costs us about $200,000 a year just for operation and maintenance costs. That doesn't leave much for any capital. Over the last 5 years, we've been kind of working on the fund balance, and our fund balance is now getting to the point that it's should be at the end of this year. is gonna be down to about, 393,000 that we'd have left in the fund balance, which gives us about a couple extra $100,000 for any capital. And that gets us down to the bottom line where we would no longer be able to afford any other capital because we continue to stay at the 200,000 that we're revenue in is about revenue out. So that's where the problem is. And, so basically, we're looking at what we can do. We know we need more revenue. We've been trying to get grants and been failing. We have been talking to our, the county about supporting us and we're running into problems. A lot of the issues that have been caused is the ambulance service leaving and us having to get a full-time, coverage for the daytime. At the same time, we have a personnel issue with having enough firefighters for the daytimes to even respond, which also requires the daytime person. So we really can't get away from not hiring or having a daytime person because you need them for either the ambulance or the fire. Because we can't do the fire, we can't do the ambulance, and we don't have the manpower for days. So we really need to build up our staffing where we can get back to having people available on days to be able to respond to both fire and ambulance as volunteers when they come up, which means probably we need people being able to work in this community in the days where you have businesses and jobs to do that, which we don't have. So in the meantime, I think we're not gonna be able to get away from having a daytime person if we're gonna be doing fire and ambulance.
Well, we did run it for 20 years without that.
We didn't have the calls that we have now. We had an ambulance service at our township and we paid for an ambulance.
We
service
didn't
to
have a
be at our
payphone.
station. And then we eliminated the ambulance stuff.
How long did we have the ambulance? Wasn't that just a few years?
When I was on the department in 99, we're doing first
Yeah, right.
responders.
Right, 99. And then-
And then we had, the housing of, it
Right,
was called Coloma ambulance, I believe at the time. And they were located at, right across from Cheminars, 250. We tried purchasing property in the village for them, which they would have accepted. But when we had the soil tested, it was contaminated, old garage was there. So it ended up going at that place down there and we had people posted close enough where we didn't have to have, medical for the days. Or nights because they actually stayed there. So we wasn't running medical calls, the ambulance was. Then that went up till, I think, Pride used to be at our station, living there for a while, and when they left, we had to go to Life, and when we went to Gobles of Life, we became basically the first responders for Life to take the medical calls for them due to the time it took them to get here. So that's how we got into the situation. That's why we hired someone for days. At the same time, our problem is that we lost Dave Johnson, who was doing all the medical calls during the day because South Haven, high school or South Haven schools would allow him to make daytime calls. So when he left, we didn't have any daytime people for fire and ambulance. So that's where we're at. That's how we got there. And now we have to figure out how we get out of that and get back to having, man, having equipment's one thing, having people's another, but you don't need equipment if you don't have the bodies. You don't need the bodies if you don't have the equipment. So it's a balance between equipment and manpower before we can, and figuring out how we're gonna maintain it, manpower and get daytime and coverage and that. Our residents are very adamant that they don't want any more new taxes. They want any increase in taxes to be put on a ballot. So I think in August, we would try to put the millage for,
well, they still don't want them, even if it's on the ballot, but
they don't want it on the ballot either.
they don't want new taxes.
No, they don't.
Well, I thought I heard them tell us they wanted to vote for any new
I
tax.
think you heard Kate say that, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I
So that's
guess
the.
that opens up
that's
the
a-
discussion to you guys.
Where we're at.
So the
Yeah.
other part of any budget, you've talked about the revenue side, the other side is the expenditures and what can or cannot be cut.
Well, you got a fire truck that's got problems and it's taking up a lot of maintenance costs. That's 2770 that doesn't wanna stay in pump gear or will pop out of pump gear. I hear it also sometimes you can't get it into pump gear. But also had the circuit board problem, right? That they had,
The biggest problem with 70 has been the electrical grid.
Oh.
Sometime, and it's been like that for its lifespan, unfortunately. We get something fixed, we chase it to another portion of the truck. We get it fixed, we chase it back to the pump panel, like it just goes back and forth. Another tough thing, staying in with NFPA standards every 10 years, they have to be completely.
So every 15 years, it's every 15 years, it's a recommendation that you get a new frontline truck. That gets refurbished and that stays a second line truck for 20 years. That's the recommendation, and that comes out of NFPA 1901. That's just a recommendation.
Tires are in.
Tires, that's correct. Tires are every 7, or actually 7 years, not 10
But
years.
yeah, just for the entire lifespan
Yeah.
of 70, she's just been one big electrical ground.
Lemon.
It's because of the purchase of the truck too. Ferrari's just not a good brand.
Yeah.
That's honestly a good portion of that too.
But not
They have a
some-
lot of issues in general with that brand.
Where did
Not
that truck
something
come
we
from?
can-
Good. I don't know where it came from. It came from down south, but
That's Louisiana.
Yeah, it's-
They bought
Okay. So it was new when you bought it.
Used, I believe,
I don't know.
new-ish,
I wasn't here for that.
new-ish, it was.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Could I make a suggestion? I don't know if this needs to be done or not, but. I think what we're trying to do here today is zoom out and take a broad view of what we want the future of our emergency services to be. And it's just a strategic conversation, right?
Correct.
And there's a lot of individual things listed on here that obviously need to be addressed, but one of the things we do at my company that I feel is pretty effective when you're trying to solve a problem is you have to first identify what the root issue is. And a lot of times when you're discussing something, you end up discussing symptoms of the root issue rather than what the root issue is. And so I think I'd like to suggest that before we start talking about individual things like fire trucks and, you know, those are all specific things, we kind of say, what is the root issue of what we're trying to solve? For example, saying that we don't have money in the budget is not a root issue, that's a symptom. The root issue could be that, I'm not suggesting this is true, but the root issue could be that somebody doesn't know how to manage the budget somewhere. So the root issue is not that we don't have money, we need to find money. The root issue could be something entirely different. So I would like to propose that we say, what is the root issue of what we're trying to solve for emergency services long-term?
Yep.
Because we've talked call volumes and ambulance service and daytime and budgets and fire trucks and sewer systems. And I mean, those are all part of some root issue, I believe.
And even Ken mentioned, if you don't have the personnel, then why have the truck? So that's not a root issue. That is it's a problem, but it doesn't solve, it's a
Right.
symptom. That's
Right.
what it is.
We certainly have specific things we need to solve for, like we need to potentially hire a new fire chief. But I think if we're talking direction and strategy, that's a much bigger frame of view. And we need to say from a directional and strategic standpoint, what issue are we trying to solve with emergency services? And I don't know what that is. Usually everyone just kind of says, I think the issue could be this, and we go around, and then at some point when somebody hits on it, everybody goes, that's right, that's the issue. That's what the issue is. So I don't know if that's going to be helpful, but I feel like if we don't sort of frame our conversation, we're just going to wander all over the place.
well, you can say equipment, it's one of the problems because it's failing. So you have equipment issue. that needs to be resolved. You have manpower where you don't have enough manpower to cover the 3 shifts. Or the 2 shifts, days and nights.
But why do we have failing equipment?
We have failing equipment because it's getting old and we bought a lemon for our first out truck back 15 years ago. We also have standards that require a first out truck be less than 15 years. However, we're a rural, small farming area where we can probably extend that without any problems, but it is having problems, which means it probably should be replaced.
Well, I think the manpower, we're from a small community, people don't move here to start a career. So I think that's why we put on here looking outside to our neighbors, and that's why like Matt's probably here because he shares a border with us. I think the equipment goes back to our funding, because we just don't have a bunch of money to spend to get new stuff. I think me coming from kind of a little bit of a business background, I know this is a township, but I feel like the fire department should kind of run like a business. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not saying it should make a bunch of money, but, and I feel like it hasn't been. I think probably because of the change of people so much. That's kind of my quick thoughts about it.
I think it's good. I mean,
My perspective is that, and I agree with Kara saying it, you should run things like a business. If what you need to do is get the data that you need to make the best decision you can based on that data, however you want to say it. And then see if you can't resolve issues based on that information. And the year-end reports for our services that we provide give a lot of data to maybe steer us in what direction we need to go. And I don't know if you want to get into the data stuff now. I don't think
No, I
that's,
think so.
I don't think that's needed at this point. But I think that needs to be looked at in order to maybe go down the right road that we need to go down. And as businesses are, based on that information, then you say, okay, we need this, we don't need this, we need this, we can cut this to make it affordable to get this other thing, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
you gotta have negotiation, you gotta have give and take, and you gotta know what direction you're going.
yeah, I mean, I think, Kara, everything that you said is accurate, and I think maybe of everything you said, the concept or the thought that the fire department not being run like a business, in my mind, could be an issue, and that's not pointing fingers at anybody who's involved in that, because ultimately it's the board's responsibility, because we have oversight over the fire department. So if you want to frame it a different way, the board is not viewing the fire department enough as a business. Could be a bucket that all these other things fall into. Manpower, budget issues, equipment issues, facility issues. So could that possibly be the root issue that we need to solve for as a board? The board does not have the structure or mechanism in place to view and approach the fire department enough like a business. Because real quickly, when Ken, you said the assessment brings in 240 a year and our emergency services budget is 200 a year. In theory, and we haven't dug into the numbers, but in theory, we should have $40,000 every year. So in 5 years, we would have $200,000 sitting there to do whatever we need to for equipment. So that, as a business owner, I go, what's going on there? We should have a surplus every year, and that surplus should be growing. So that could be a business operational issue for sure.
I told you it was O&M. I did not tell you about the capital expenditures that we have per year. But we have capital expenditures that have been. Let's see if I can find them here. Operation maintenance capital. We had $131,000 for air packs. We had repairs to the fire truck of $37,000 in 2022, 23, 23, 24 was 131,000.
Maintenance doesn't go under O and M. That shouldn't go under capital
It
expenditures.
was a capital expenditure. It was taken out of capital.
Are you talking about the 131?
131 was capital plus
That's
the
air packs.
No, he said repairs.
They're air packs.
and $37,000 was considered capital for the. That was for the repairs, a lot of repairs that year on that truck. The other years, the last couple of years, we've been holding it to less than $6,000, trying to build up capital.
No, that's probably.
Sir, did you have a question? I saw your hand go up. I don't know if we're just doing Q and A or how we're doing this.
I apologize, I wasn't supposed to ask, I just got.
Oh, you can.
Be it whether it's a budget. Not enough budget problem, or a mishandling of the budget problem. As the board. And, I mean, if we're taking all of Grand Junction into mind. What do you think would have financial precedence over EMS and fire department? Fixing roads, beautifying Grand Junction, like what, I can't see anything that would take.
That's not what we're not discussing the importance of the fire department. I think everybody up here is, you know, we're not even calling into question by saying, should we look at the operational aspects of the fire department? We're not saying JC or whoever is, you know, assistant chief has been mismanaging the budget. I'm just saying when you have budget issues, there could be a bigger issue at hand. And we're not suggesting that we need to prioritize anything over the fire department necessarily.
I was like, that's, yeah, no, I appreciate
Because the
it.
fire department has a separate budget. We don't put that underneath other items like roads.
Well, thanks for the comment. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt, I appreciate it. God bless.
you're fine. You're fine. This is more of a workshop type thing, so.
Is it possible that we've got people here that might have hazards of root causes of any?
Well, I mean, manpower, like you said, you guys are hitting all the symptoms. Run it like a business. It is supposed to be ran like a business. You look at any other model anywhere else for fire departments that are bigger, run more call volume and whatnot, they run it like a business. They truly do. That's how you're supposed to run a fire department, you know? But it's it's more like a small family business type atmosphere, of course, because we all feel like a family down there and stuff like that. But like the business spectrum, though, you're supposed to be sticking to that model there a little bit.
The manpower, I mean, that's a problem as old as time. It's not anything to do with having enough equipment or anything like that. Literally, we identified a problem from over the course of our lifetimes, Columbia Township Fire. And then Kara hit it, there's no jobs here.
Right.
And I mean, I've gotten lucky that I found a job that I can leave. If something bad happens here, I can come. But not everybody has that ability. We've got
For most
two or
people,
three
yeah.
guys that work factory jobs, they can't leave.
And for most people, it's only if it's big, the people that can go, if they're gonna go at all.
Yeah,
If we have any other people go all besides the full timer, it's only if it's big, because why are they gonna leave once a week for an EMS call because somebody stubbed their toe 5 times in a row or something? They're not gonna leave work for that.
Jerry needs a lift assist. And one of those deals, but it's that 8 to 4 period is a very vulnerable time. I mean, for all areas, I don't know if you know your numbers, but I know that Bloomingdale at least is very lucky that 2 of their main cogs work
Yeah.
in Bloomingdale. So one of those deals, but, that's the tough part about our area, and I mean, just that 8 to 4 area is just very vulnerable for us. And, our residents aren't getting any younger. So we're getting more calls, I mean, Stubbing your toe is still pretty serious, one of those deals. I mean, stubbing your toe leads to falling over the cat, which leads to falling down the stairs, which leads to a whole bunch of problems that we just wanted to make sure we're covered. That was why we created Joe's position. That was why we created the part-timers. That was that whole thing. And I get the numbers being skewed in that 8 to 4 timeframe. It's just, retirees don't join our fire department. One of those deals. People that have time, if they do join, they come training. One of those deals. It's not any knock on anybody. I'll take anybody and say 88. I'll give you a job.
The personnel or the personnel issue, because of our demographics and what we are, isn't gonna change. It hasn't changed.
100%.
And
Once we start
at the courthouse in Paw, there's a table. And then on that table, the title of it is Forgotten Towns. And Copeland's in there, Lakota's in there, we're in there, Bloomingdale's in there, it used to be Goldsville, they're in there. Because they're not urban areas, they don't really have any structure for people coming in. I mean, we're like, what, 85%, ag? Okay,
Well, and when we've tried to get businesses here, they've been pushed away.
they have, that's right.
And that hasn't helped the finances. And I know it's not gonna be immediate, but Vesper is probably still coming, whether you want them or not. Which does mean there may be taxes that come from that in the next couple of years, but they're not here now.
I think the state is more qualified to bring them here than us. They
Regardless.
got the technical,
Well,
So, okay, let's stay.
we don't need to
on
get
that.
into that, we already talked about that.
So,
That issue's already been decided.
That's right.
But it's future revenues that we probably will get, but we don't
um,
have it now.
I think some of our choices then are, and I talked to Matt because it's like, we're 6 miles apart, right? Like, do we merge with them? Is that a possibility? How would that look? Is it even? I have a lot of contacts in Kentucky, a place in Kentucky, and when I tell them that we have a fire department for every 6 miles square, they can't believe it. They have like a county one and then they have 3 bases. So it's different.
Yeah.
So not that that's what we can do. I just wondered if there's any way, because all these communities, we're losing a lot of our revenue sharing too. 15% of that, we're all gonna be in a crunch. And so how could we, is it even an option? I'm looking at all the different options. Is it an option to merge with somebody or to do something like that? Would it even work? I don't know. So that was one of them. Was there any other kind of big, broad? Or we do what we're doing. We just stay status quo and we don't have a fire truck.
Yeah, I think those are like the big
Those are
two
the two,
options.
yeah.
Right, and I think when we weigh merging though, remember though, we gotta hang on to EMS though, because I mean, that's just a growing problem. And I'm not for Bloomingdale or anything, but Bloomingdale area is starting to get busier now with EMS calls, right? So everybody, you're gonna start seeing a bigger trend in EMS.
Well, I mean,
coming.
and maybe we share the cost of your
Right.
position
Mhm.
with Bloomingdale. And you can go to both places,
Right.
you know?
Right.
I'm just throwing stuff out there right now.
You do. I didn't know that.
Then another question on that is reestablishing the boundaries and response places, and I don't know.
Well, then we gotta go into Mavis and stuff too.
Mavis, literally, there's the county, Mavis, like,
Mutual aid box
yeah,
associate, or not associate.
I don't know how much work that would be. I have no idea what work.
Oh, to do like a merger
To do
or
a
something.
merger of that sort, folks from before our time, I mean, before anyone's time here. Because JC wasn't here when the split happened. I don't know what it took to leave Bangor. I don't know what it's taken people to join together. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's,
Well,
I'm
that's,
just saying that was an option.
No, I'm 100%, I'm just giving you feedback.
How can
I
we-
don't know.
How can we
personally.
share our resources to make the best for all the citizens?
right.
Especially if it helps another.
And I think merging is a good thing, it's just as long as we hang on to our stuff, because like I've told other folks before, if you merge and we hang on to what we have, we merge it with somebody that's similar to us, they have the same assets that we do, EMS, cadet program, fire, and we all have the same mindset, the same training, we all work together anyways. That if you merge together, you're gonna be able to build your revenue together, A. B, you'll be faster at potentially getting closer to having a municipal bus, and that's gonna benefit these residents and the other residents way more than paying for a private EMS. They show up at $600-800 in your driveway if they don't take you already.
Yeah.
Without insurance, of course, and then on top of the billing of the mileage and stuff like that. So they're billing you anyways, your citizens. If we get a municipal bus, that's for the taxpayers who show up. Alright, no money, hop in the truck.
The insurance for a municipal bus is half of our budget, and that won't be.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like with
Understood
something
that
like,
off the table.
like something like that, you'll be able to build closer to building a better fire department too on top of that, I'm not saying.
So
to
if
do
you
that, I'm saying
work with
to
somebody,
build.
and I'm not saying Bloomingdale even is able or willing to
Right.
do that, but if, let's just use this for instance.
Mhm.
So we have the EMS and the cadet program and they have more equipment.
Right,
I
you
mean,
start with that,
we don't need somebody with another EMS. We already have an EMS.
right, you start with that, and then you build on that, and you can keep building.
So those were the other options, and what I'm finding when I do talk to anybody is, fire departments seem to wanna keep all their stuff to themselves. You know, everybody's like, I
Well-
stopped it, let me finish. I stopped in, I think it was Decatur one time, and this fire chief he was very nice, As soon as I said I was on the board, man, he clammed up like yeah. And it's a very, it's a very tight group and they're holding on to their own stuff. So I don't know if that would even be an option, but I think it's something that we should have at least have looked at or think about. So,
The equipment thing won't be an issue though, because that's gonna stay in our building, their equipment stays in their building.
yeah,
That,
I mean, we're way from that. I'm just throwing out big
No,
picture
100%.
ideas,
It's not good, no, we hear it.
you know,
Um,
cause they have they have the manpower during the day also.
well, the other one that's our partner, is Shays. And they will not take anything else on.
No.
I've talked to them. They're adamant. They have enough. They have more than what they can actually handle
For the medical side.
yeah.
they run the LS too, so that's part of it too, so they're gonna be paying a bigger premium for it too, because you're getting better service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just not,
Bangor's a lot more like us,
I'm sorry?
Bangor's a lot more like us.
Correct.
They just run a couple hundred more calls than we do here.
Yep. Yep.
Are they
So-
set up different? Like, are they like a fire board? They're just-
So they have a fire board because they got Bangor City, Arlington
Oh.
Township and Bangor Township. And then they also run EMS, and then they also have a cadet program down there too.
Okay.
So they run very similar. We're already automatic aid with them. We run every fire with Bangor.
And I think their chief, if I remember correctly, is full-time, so he runs all the daytime stuff. So that's the other thing, if we decide that we wanna do something like
Yes,
that.
and no, he doesn't necessarily run every single EMS call. They have a part-timer
Yeah.
there. They had a full-timer. He left. They haven't filled that position yet, so now they fill it with part-time for the daytime, so. The part-timer, the firefighter, they take the first call or the EMS call, then he takes the second, or he only goes out if it's only a fire.
Okay. I don't wanna get back in the weeds, I'm just saying, you know.
No, it's good knowledge, it's good knowledge for all of you.
Those are those are definitely, I mean, we have Lee, I haven't talked to anybody from Lee.
Lee Township, or not Lawrence Township just hired a full-time firefighter to cover the daytime. Firefighter and EMT.
Their demographics are a lot different than ours.
So everyone's got the same problem.
Yeah, so we know by J.C.'s reports that this is a national problem, this isn't just our
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm thinking, how do we think outside of the box possibly? You know, is it time to think outside of the box? Is it time to,
Yeah, one township probably doesn't have the resources that is needed, and the cooperation is what's holding us.
And if all the townships are losing 15% of their revenue next year. I mean, that's a big hit to everybody. That's a lot
Is
of
it
money.
15%?
15 is what I just last read. Not for sure, the budget's not up yet,
Yeah.
but
For the shared revenue?
for the shared revenue.
Fire
So that-
It doesn't
that-
apply to the
It
SAD.
won't apply to the SAD, no, but I'm saying the townships,
General Operating. is-
a lot of townships don't have a SAD though. They run their fire department out of their budget.
Oh,
So if you don't have a SAD, it's gonna affect the fire departments at 15%.
If you guys have questions that I can answer, just ask. It's okay. I'll try to do it.
Okay,
So,
you don't have a
we-
SAD,
we-
right, Matt?
We do not have a fire millage. We fund the fire department fully through our budget. So 15% reductions. We are, and looking at it right now, are trying to decide what villages we're gonna try to propose next year, because we do not have a fire. village. We have a volunteer fire department. We have very good equipment, but we used our ARPA money to buy more equipment.
Oh, that's a novel idea.
So that was something we did
we should.
to be able to have newer things. We did have a truck total last year, and then we had to buy a new truck. I mean, we want to make sure our firefighters are safe, that they have good equipment. We have a great group of people. We have older people, we have younger people, they all have a place. Just to get this out there, I have had conversations with them to take over all of Columbia and have zero interest, so that everybody knows that for all of it, it's just.
So that's really not an
We
option.
we
to
have
do
a
merger.
volunteer fire department.
Okay,
That what they had said is that they don't mind helping. But being volunteer, we can't just come in and take over everything, because it's just too much. They said we could help coming in a little ways from the east end, but that would be it, and that would be the maximum. And really, our people come first, so everybody knows that that's where our direction is. I would say in our budget, I've been working very hard to get hard numbers on where things are. You guys do your audit, you should have a list of all of their things,
we do, we have a.
times of when they need to be replaced. Equipment's not getting cheaper. And the big thing to me is that some of the stuff has to be changed. And so you have to decide as a board if you can afford what pieces. Fire trucks are $500,000. That's just the reality of where a used one is. If you wanna buy a new one, it's $1 million.
Yeah.
And so in the end, when you are looking at this as a business, you need to decide as a board, do you want to have a fire department or not? We can all say, yes, we wanna have one. All right, how do you fund? That's your next problem. Do we need to look at what equipment we have to have, what equipment we can get rid of? We look at our personnel and say we have to have one person full-time and everybody else volunteers. You guys have to be the ones to decide that. We pay a stipend to our fire chief and assistant. That is the money we give, and then we give some money for training. But we do not have a full-time person. Thankfully, we do have somebody that works close there where we can rely on him a lot, and I'm very thankful. We're in good communication, but the fact is, you guys as a board are the steering wheel of where this goes.
Right.
And you guys have to decide in partnership with them of the direction you guys want to see this go. You already know your budget's gonna be changing. You do have a SAD where you do have money coming in, but when you start having these large expenses, what money's left over in the end? You can't really you can pull general budget money in, but that's gonna ask a lot of questions from your residents of where's the money at? And so that's where they're gonna be coming to the board and to you guys and saying, is this necessary? I mean, I don't know how many fires you guys have and ambulance services a year. We have quite a few because we also deal with Cheshire and half of Waverly. And so that's where we do have a pretty big area, and then we do partner on a lot of fires. So it's
Including ours.
at times, yes. And so if you have questions, don't hesitate. I may not be able to answer them, but in the end, I'm here to listen, to observe. You guys are our partners to the west. We want to be helpful when we can be, but I do not want to step on toes. This is for the board to decide the direction forward.
That's why I brought up the data from the year-end reports. that the county shows, and even you guys' reports. And the board should look at that and say, okay, based on this data, what can we keep? What else do we need? Or how do we get by cutting something? In order to get the other things that we need. I mean, it's a juggling, for sure. And I for sure want to protect our residents. I want to have the right equipment and the protection for our firefighters. I've worked with all the fire departments pretty much in the county. And, they all do a super job. They all do a super job, but sometimes there's Cadillacs being bought when a Kia will do the job. That's all I'm saying.
So that takes that off the table. Thank you, Matt. So I don't ramble on anymore. That's
That part,
good.
I'm just saying, we could,
But I appreciate that,
Yeah.
because that's
the
off
whole
the table.
thing, we have zero.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody knows.
I think
So-
it's good we are having the conversation. We can start small and maybe other townships join in. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, we all merge right now.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
I mean, would you like to, what if our EMS, and I'm just theoretically, don't come at me.
No, no,
Theoretically-
I need to listen and observe, I'm
Alright.
going to kind of.
So we have an EMS person during the day. Would that be helpful if he could cover both?
I do not know with our current services if that's possible.
Okay.
I think,
How does that work, John?
So, and then on that hand, just the same way that you at least let them know resource wise. So say you guys, we do merge. If they're here and something bad goes on in Bloomingdale, they will leave. It would be the same thing, unfortunately. But who do we say sorry to with Joe? We sent Joe over to the apartments right outside of Bloomingdale, or sent him over to Bend then. We've had a couple very bad accidents over near in the Bloomingdale and our side of 388. If Joe's there and we have a cardiac arrest over here, he can't leave. So then our person passes.
Right, I'm not well.
And then they come at us and they're like, well, where were you? One of those deals, but the problem, Gary, is that the bus is coming from 20-25 minutes away. Your heart isn't lasting if you're in full arrest. So it's one of those deals, it's just building off of what he said. If our resources are over there and we have something over here, then somewhere in the moral and ethics of it, we can't just leave their person. But our person dies because we overextended ourselves.
I understand what you're saying. However, if you look at the big picture, okay, we're triple dipping on medical.
Mhm.
We have Joe,
Mhm.
you guys, we pay the county for the ambulance. We also have a contract deputy that's here during the day. That's trained. I'm sorry?
He doesn't run EMS, he doesn't count as EMS at all, deputies do not count as EMS,
Well,
They don't
I-
count.
He has a
they don't
defibrillator.
count, but they can deliver the.
but they're not licensed.
Okay, Joe. I'm not gonna get into the weeds, okay, but I can tell you. 30 years on the department. I handled a lot of calls before the ambulance got there.
They do show up, but they're not EMS trained or
Yeah.
licensed, so. They're
Can save a life. if-
not a medical provider, I'm a medical provider,
Thanks.
Latch is not a medical provider.
Okay, I understand that, but if they can save a life, it doesn't matter whether you're licensed or
And
not.
that's 100% true, then,
Okay.
I mean, we pay money in for these ambulances.
Okay, so that would be, John, why you would say, yeah, well, that's the question.
Right.
We're
And I think
paying
we
for
all
the
need to go to the
service.
county. This township pays $100,000 for ambulance service.
For
And
our-
it's gonna take 25 minutes to get here. Now, they did have 2 ambulances go to that bad accident. They were there in 6 and 8 minutes.
Yes.
Act of God that they were that close.
That was just
Pretty
a lucky
much.
day, that was just a lucky day.
Is it VBEMS?
Go ahead.
Allows us people to come through.
That's V-Bones,
Yeah.
V-Bones has a, echo protocol in there.
I would say on average, over the months that I've been supervisor, our average response time between 9 and 11 minutes for our area. So that's where it's very fast. I'm very thankful for that.
So do we need to meet with John Pixter and find
I-
out why it takes
Not
20 more to
saying
get here?
that on average is our response.
Okay, thank you.
I wonder if it has to do with having to have a call like on the far side of our area, and like the average would be longer because of where they're going to probably.
Yeah.
Potentially, because it's really not that long if it's on the line. And we are only waiting like 12-15 minutes. It's not too bad.
Okay,
Yeah, I think,
So-
step one, we need to look at the budget, like,
You need to determine if you want a fire department and then look at.
Yeah.
Well,
I've not heard anybody say they don't want.
no,
no, we absolutely wanna
No.
protect our citizens and,
that's not an issue.
we do have an ordinance to provide fire service. I mean, isn't that written in our ordinance that we will provide fire service?
Correct. We have an ordinance that requires that and it requires the board to budget it.
Yep. So, a fire service is fire service. It's not fire service following every NA whatever rule to get a new fire truck every 15 years. That can be up to the chief and the board to negotiate. Fine.
PR is a recommendation, but if you have
Recommendation
a
is not
truck
a
that's
requirement.
costing you a lot of maintenance, then
Let's sell it and get them something different.
Okay, let's, I think we're running
Okay.
down some rabbit holes.
Can,
here.
can I get a clarification, from somebody, maybe the fire crew? When we say merger, that word is a little unclear to me, especially when I hear, well, we're gonna retain all of our stuff and our people. So can you describe how a merger actually functions? Like, if I know Bloomingdale doesn't wanna merge with us, so let's pick a different township. We merge with another township.
it becomes a joint,
Just share
fire
calls, like
becomes a joint fire district.
anybody from our station has to go to their township, anybody from their station has
It's
to
the
go to our
most
township.
basic form of it, that is,
In a sense.
yeah. Kind of what it is.
You would have like, you would have districts, though, you would say, all right, well. If it's a fire call, like, let's say if it's a down power line down to Bangor's area, we're merged with Bangor. If it's down on 43, that station's gonna go, that station's not gonna go. Structure fire, both stations go, right? EMS calls, same platform probably, you'd say, all right, if it's in Columbia Township, Columbia Station, you cover that call. If it's in Bangor, Bangor, you cover that call. And you'd probably start sharing calls together and whatnot, like if they get busy, they get double tapped, okay, there's one on 28th Avenue, just outside our area. Alright, Columbia Station, we'll go get that.
Well,
That's-
So they
it's
usually
one-
have a
it's one
fire
department. It's a fire authority.
How does that affect or change our budget though? Sounds like we would still be
You'd be pitching.
operating status quo.
I don't know budget.
That's more of a coverage solution, isn't it, than a
Yeah.
budgetary
I don't
solution?
know about the budget portion, that's a good question for Jeremy Robertson and JC. Cause Jeremy's actually merged places before and he's actually started stuff up before, so.
Yeah.
And he knows a lot about that. That's where we're getting all this information from, actually, is mainly our mentor, him, so. With that being said, if you merge, I mean, it'd be a fire authority, you'd have a fire board, so you'd have a representative from Columbia Township go to the meetings. They would have the say for us, they just come back and report to you, this is what's going on, this is how much you owe, blah, blah.
I think Danielle told me when and I can go ask her, but. So they have services from Arlington, part of it, and I think just part of their township, they're paying their fire board over 100,000. So I'm not sure that would fix our budget issue.
But you guys still vote on like other things, though, so like you guys don't have to stay up with the same millage that the other townships are doing, so like, for instance, if you look at, go on Shays Facebook, they have a breakdown of what. Geneva's given, Casco's given, city's given, and townships given, if you look at that give you a model of that. I just don't have the numbers memorized. on my
Alpha
head.
does the same thing with Waverly and,
Yeah, that's how it is with any fire board,
Correct.
that's all you're gonna be doing, you're gonna be
Correct.
adding another township to that fire
I'd like
board,
to-
essentially, that's a.
I'd like to hear from John.
Inkster.
No.
Inkster.
Taylor, yeah.
Oh,
or John.
oh,
So. You're next in line to be the chief in our department, if you so would accept that, and I think you would do a really good job, I really do. You're hearing what our issues are. Do you feel like you can work with the board to try to resolve some of these things?
Well, I think one of the biggest problems that, cause I came up on my 11th year. I've been with a bunch of different board members. Karen has been here for my entire career. But the toughest part and Jason, and what he brought up, finding the root cause, and I mean, you guys are in charge of the money for all of us. And then we're in charge of our money to make sure we don't go crazy on it. And then getting Matt's perspective on it and, like, I mean, just like Joe had said, I mean, I know that you guys have talked to the other departments around this, I know that.
Of
I
course we did.
I hang out with the old folks, I hang out with the young folks, I'm the county training coordinator for fire and EMS. So the old boys give me a call anytime they hear something and it's just, and I agree, the thought process of merging makes sense. But I don't know if it fixes the issue that we have.
Right.
And that's just one of the, and I have no problem exploring options, I don't. Whatever helps me get to your house faster or actually put water on your house if it's on fire. And the tough thing is that without ever receiving emergency services, I can hear that each one of you think we're at least important enough to keep, which is very nice to hear, very nice to hear. But it's, unless you've been part of the experience, you don't know how useful it is to have Joe here during the day. And I mean, we were mildly successful with the part-time program, but having him set in stone that he's here has been very useful. And has it been a budgetary nightmare? Absolutely. When I joined, I didn't know that we were paid. I saw the help wanted sign when I moved to my uncle's place when I first moved here. So I called Dave up and yeah, I was on 2 weeks later because that was when the fit test was. So I went through all my testing and everything 2 weeks in. I don't have a problem exploring it, but the way everyone's dealing with their resources currently, just like your experience with Decatur. As soon as they hear that you've got a clipboard somewhere in your arsenal, sorry, nope. And I mean, the fire board for Bangor seems to be a very, very, very useful thing for the area that they cover, the resources are always covered, the tax money is always covered, but they have three different areas that are pitching money in them. We don't have that.
Right.
There's 36 square miles and 14 lakes, so, yeah, just one of those, I see where it's what you guys are looking for, and I mean, I think Jason's onto something where, where's the true cause on the problem, and then milling in what Matt said, I mean, we have to decide what needs to be changed, if we can wait on it, sure. But, and I know that the whole 15-year thing, with trucks, I mean, it's a very hard thing to stick to in small areas. And I mean, but every 15 years though, you're still gonna get hit with, hey, that truck has to be completely gone through a Broadway standard.
See,
That part's tough, but what we've said though, is that we should be prepared for those things. And somewhere along the line, we stopped preparing for those things and we took it for granted. We have it and it'll be there, but it's one of those, it's tough to just make up your numbers and hope that they stick. And I know that, I mean, we don't usually ask for more money. I know that much. So I know that we've been really good with our budget.
There's some waste in there. I mean, I could detail that.
100%, but there is.
well, there's waste in everything. Let's face it.
There always is, and there's mitigation tactics that we can do for that, but,
But I think in what Jason had mentioned about the overall, what is the problem? As a board member and as a board, we should talk to other departments to get.
100%, we don't
and get, you know,
that's.
because we wouldn't be
Educational tactic.
doing, we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't.
100%.
To get examples, and what Matt was saying, and his input, and other people, so maybe we can put something together that's good for everyone, that's the bottom line.
And just the tough part in our day and age is that nobody has surplus money. We don't, bro, we don't.
Yeah.
I understand that 100%. But I think it would be very tricky. Short of getting in with Shays or short of getting in with Bangor, I mean, going to Lee or going with them, I mean, the resources that they have pooled they stay at their level at the township until it's necessary to pass them down. And I mean, a shared resources gets muggy, like we've explained, just who's more important at this time? Who's paying for that? Who's this, who's that? I mean, it may just add double the workload for any of you that are in charge of it. Or me, I don't know. Probably be more paperwork for me too. So,
You guys-
yeah, it'd probably be more reports and paperwork collecting for me too. So I don't know. But as an educational tactic, no, I don't disagree with it.
And you and I have talked about going outside the box and maybe doing like a GoFundMe for a fire truck. I mean, I think that there's some things, we may not get 500, but what if we got 200?
Mhm.
You know, and then I think we do have to get
2020
active on those,
2020 got us away from doing a lot of public events and we really haven't
gone back.
gone back to it. It's been conversation we passed along and I mean, it's part of the plan.
It's something that we wanna do next year. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna, at the end of December. We're just gonna select dates instead of just asking, hey, is this a good day? No, we're just gonna, here's your dates.
Yeah.
Hoping
At
for
the
things,
beginning of the year.
yeah, hoping for things to materialize,
Yeah.
like the pancake breakfast, that's a staple
Mhm.
of every.
That's gonna be on
the history of.
next year.
So we thought, because, I mean, I'm maybe speaking out of turn, but Bloomingdale, according to people that I know, they have people waiting to get on their fire department. And it's always perplexed me that we struggle so hard 6 miles away to get people on our fire department. I don't know if it's culture. I don't know what it is. I still can't wrap my head around that. I think Jeremy said that they're a unicorn because, you know, it's just such a rare thing and so we threw money at our people. We threw money. We spent $100,000 in manpower out of that budget.
Mhm.
And it hasn't changed one thing.
Mhm.
So, you know, that may be something that we really have to think about.
Well, along that line. Papa is volunteer. I mean, you guys know that. They've got 40 last count that I was told, 40 regulars
Mhm.
and 20,
Yeah, they have a full roster and
Yeah.
backups,
yeah, and they even buy their own uniforms. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, now Papa's different.
Mhm.
I mean, because you got Waverly and you got Almina and a couple other ones, but anyway, so again,
It comes back into it,
Yeah,
they've got supporting casts.
exactly.
And it's probably run just like Matt does. The money goes straight to the board and the board distinguishes, hey, this is what's necessary.
Correct.
So.
Well,
We do set a budget, and what we've been doing is saying every year we buy so many air packs, we buy so many suits.
Mhm.
We put money aside in its own fund for a fire truck every year, and that money sits there until we have something big come up. So departments are very expensive. I don't care which way you wanna go, they're very expensive, but they're necessary. I'm very fortunate that we have the group of people we have. And we do have people waiting to come in. We do have a big list of old guys that love doing this, that are there mopping the floors and sweeping just to do it. So I feel very fortunate, and that's where I don't wanna abuse them by saying, oh, guess what? As a board, we decided this is what you're going to do.
You know, that-
So that's where, to me, today, I'm wanting to give input where I can give input, but also just listen, observe, and see your direction, because you are our partners to the west. Honestly, what you guys do does somewhat affect us. And for us, I want to be able to support you where I can. But the big thing is, yeah, we don't have to pay for people.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a huge cost. You guys may not be in that situation. You may have to pay for people, but then where does that money come from? And with the budget issue coming up, honestly, I think everybody's gonna be feeling that to a point. And the fact is, right now, yeah, if you wanna increase millages, it should go to the people. People should be the ones to decide. And you as a board can make adjustments, but it's not gonna look good. And so you really should go to the people for any adjustments, get their input, get their direction. I mean, honestly, though, we keep steering around a lot of stuff. I think we need to get back to the point of the discussion of approaches to sustaining emergency services. And that's where really you guys have to decide the direction there.
So, anybody on the board, what do you think our next step should be to find that direction.
I think there's a huge disconnect between us and you guys. Like, I haven't been around that long, so I've been busy with other stuff, but I think it'd be important to maybe have a board representative meet with you guys weekly, monthly, and like sit down. Hey, this is what we need this month. Go through the budget, like brainstorm, and whether that board member changes, so then you get different input. Just me dealing with like payroll and updating new employees, like there's just a huge disconnect, like. So I think that's the root cause is the communication between us and you, and it's just, I think it's a big thing because we change positions so much and it's just, everything else gets put on top of you guys, but really it's the township and then the fire department, like. There's nothing else that should become on top of that, so I think that's something we kind of start with is our communication. Figure out how we can work on that and then we can grow from there, cause we're not gonna settle this all right now.
But based on that, maybe what we should do is set up a meeting for a couple of board members to schedule a meeting with the department as a whole and discuss things and get input from everybody. I
That's
think
what kind
that
of what today is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what today is. Yeah,
Well, they have trainings though, where they would have work their whole personnel there, right?
Well, this just kind of shows you, it's 9 AM on a Thursday, this is who you've got in your area.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even have me, I just saw the notice and I came, so.
Well, I think like,
Unless we have fire.
I don't know if
Hang on.
That we did that.
I saw it proposed, and I was like, okay.
I think like,
I don't
mean,
know if we need to drag this out, though. I
No.
think we need to start making some decisions.
Exactly.
Just, December's gonna be here,
but like our money spent, we see bills
Right.
coming in, we're like, what in
you
the
know,
world?
and we have an accountant, maybe they meet with Dixie, you know, I think
Right.
we can change the financial part of it, once we decide how we're gonna move forward. I think the financial does need to be addressed, the purchasing and the,
Yeah,
you know, putting stuff in order of what's important.
Yeah.
For us, we write all checks. They have $2,000.
Okay.
And so anything, they call us regular to get approval, and then at the board meeting, we approve it. So therefore, we have a checks and balances, and that's where I'm in good communication with our people, and they say, we need this,
Okay,
right? I can talk to a board member and just say, this is necessary, we make the thing, and then at the next board meeting, we approve it. So for us, we keep the strings on what money they have.
That would-
So what do you, what's the suggestion here to start point?
I read JC's letter, I think, we should talk about, how to do it internally, I don't agree with everything that he said in his letter, but I think we have to decide, we're gonna keep our fire department? And are we going to promote from within and work with basically John is the one that he suggested.
Well, okay, so are we gonna?
We can ask John if he's.
if we're gonna-
Well, are you even interested in John?
Well, that's a good choice.
Because
I'll say,
let's be honest, if you're not interested, we have to
That's
advertise.
cool, but the tough part about that is, so say I didn't want to. Say I wasn't here to eventually, I mean, I joined to be a firefighter.
Mhm.
I've done my classes, I've advanced through the ranks, but opening it up to the public. You know, I mean, a lot of jobs have to do that. You can't just go from internally, they malpractice, ethical. The person would have to move here.
Right.
Because our standard operating guidelines dictate you have to be within 5 miles, otherwise you're not a firefighter.
I've,
So that would open it, that would be tough. We medical from other places just because it's hard.
Because of the chief's discretion.
Exactly, so I
I mean,
mean,
get around that, but you
I am interested, I would like to take it, I just. I saw the note on here of if we open it up, that's gonna be tough. Because we don't bring firefighters in that don't live close enough to the border. If you're not gonna make it to a fire lives fast enough. You're not gonna make it to a truck. You're dangerously just rolling around in your POV, and that's not safe, so. I think it would, if I didn't wanna do it, which I do, I will absolutely take it if it's offered to me. I think it would be tough to get someone from outside because
Well, it's
unless we
It's not
change
a
our.
full-time position. like,
Exactly, well,
why
and
would
that's the
Some
thing.
Columbia
So,
Township
yeah,
for.
exactly. It's not,
for
it's
it.
not a full-time position like Derek is in Bangor, there's not a huge draw on it, and if they lived here already, wouldn't they already be here?
Right.
Well, my thought is,
Well-
why would we waste 2 months advertising
Yeah.
and, you know?
Going through all that.
I just want to point out that we're solving the next issue on the list and we have not solved the first issue
Yeah,
yet.
right,
Just want to point that out.
right.
I appreciate your sharing your thoughts and whether you would take the job, but now we're talking about hiring a chief already. We did not solve the strategic long range issue of what we want to do with our fire department.
That's true, but it's good to know what the next.
Well,
Think about it.
well,
Start Xing stuff out,
listen, this is why I think this is important, and I'm gonna ask a question. You referred to the old boys call you guys when they hear something and your ears tuned into stuff. JC mentioned that there were some rumors on the street in an email. I've heard some things as well. And when we talked about options a few minutes ago, it was like our options are merge with another department or keep the status quo. And one of the things I heard that I'd like to ask if you've heard as well, or Matt, you seem pretty tuned in with the fire department. I want to know if you heard it. Something I heard was that there was conversation about 3 townships surrounding us, each taking a third of our township, which in my mind would not be a merger. That would be a complete dissolution of our fire department and giving it to other townships. Have you heard that?
I have heard that.
Okay.
That was one of the things, that was one of the reasons that I made special time to make sure I was here to because I wanted to hear it for myself.
Okay.
And the way that would work, and I mean, Matt alluded to him hearing about kind of just merging in a little bit, merging the lines in. The way that would work, it's either hostile takeover where we don't exist and they just exist. Or we still exist, the same problems are here, but we have help, I guess, is the only way that I would understand that. Because the way it was described to me sounded like complete.
Who described it to you? The reason I want to know is I just recently heard this and it sounded like there was a lot of discussion surrounding this issue, almost like approaching decision making. And I, as a board member, had not heard that and we had not had this meeting yet. But I'm just kind of curious, what sort of things?
Training council had brought it up.
Okay,
I'd really rather not disclose their departments, but they had heard, which, there was it was a couple older guys, they had heard. Hey, this is what we heard that maybe Lee and Bangor or South Haven or all 4 of our boundary lines were going to take a square. One of those deals, and I was like, well, I haven't heard that.
Was it coming from like us or like
No,
the
it
county?
bounced out
I
to
think
all
it's-
its officers too.
Yeah, I think it's an outside thing, and I mean,
Yeah, cause I am.
What?
Well, they're probably hearing a lot from the board when we talk about it here, about what we're gonna do and how we don't have funding. and-
that was never suggested to my recollection as an option.
We never said that as an option, but they're out there thinking what happens if Columbia Township has to close down the fire department because they can't fund it, and
Bangor comes
all
in.
these people came in and said that they didn't want fire department.
The one that Ken, you took apart a joint commission before. We
I
had.
was on the BBACG, I was a member of it.
It used to be Bangor, Geneva and Columbia, but Bangor just had Geneva Township involved with them, like that was part of their area. Geneva broke off.
The BB was Bangor, Township, Bangor City, G was Geneva, C was Columbia, and Arlington was the last one, BBACG.
But that, instead of, I guess what I'm having trouble with is the difference between mutual aid and a joint department.
That was a joint fire district, and what happened is we were putting in most of the money and we were getting the less service. And the city of Bangor and the Bangor Township personnel on the board told me point blank is that we're not sending any of our people into your township, we just want your money. Yikes. And they cannot get any of the firefighters to come in here. We had Harry Regala and I can't remember the other guy. We only had two people in our township that was on the fire department. And the thing that broke our backs here at the township board is one day, Bangor come and took all the equipment out of the station that the two people respond from. They took our fire truck and they took 2722 and took it to Bangor.
I just want to be clear, I'm not suggesting that as an idea that I'm giving credence to. I'm just saying to the point of, again, discussing possible approaches for sustaining emergency services. That is the bucket we're looking at. If we're saying, how do we keep and sustain emergency services? That's a bigger issue than even saying, how do we keep our fire department? Because if hypothetically, I'm not suggesting this, we could provide better emergency services to our residents by having 3 townships take a third and it saved our taxpayers money, that would be an option we should consider. I don't know if that's realistic or not. I'm just saying, that's why I go, I want to know how seriously that's been being discussed, because I heard it as if it was several steps down the road. And if that's true, even talking about who our fire chief is irrelevant.
I'm not sure how it got drummed up. It may have just been one of those things that people start speculating on. JC
Yeah.
had handed in his retirement and yeah, I mean, a lot of people tuned in to the special meeting. Last month. A lot of people tuned into that and I had people reach out getting the feeling that it's like, okay, does your community even want you?
Yeah.
And that's the question that we're showing up to your call.
If you go into the joint
So-
fire district, you're gonna be paying 3 mils plus. I mean,
I mean,
that's what we're trying to avoid.
Just gonna raise the price.
Yeah. You're gonna get whatever millage they're getting, and everyone around us is more than what we are.
Well, you explain that again. You said more millage.
Well, you're different because you don't have a millage for fire. But if you look at Bangor Township, you look at Arlington, you look at Lawrence, you look at Lee, you look at South Haven's 3.1. The average is 2.8 around us that have actually a fire millage. Their fire millage is 2.8 on average. Back in 1999, when I did the fire to budget, I went out 5 years and determined that we needed 3.5 mils to maintain the fire department. When I got elected back in here, I come up that we needed over 3 mils, 3.1 actually,
And what do you currently have?
to maintain it, but currently 2, we will not increase it because of the public opinion. But we need 3.1 and we needed it 5 years ago.
Do the other
To be able to
townships you just mentioned have SADs, Ken? When you say millage, they have 3.1 and all the numbers, are they special assessment districts?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes.
No,
They
some of them are voted in villages.
tell you who they are.
I'm just trying to get reference here because that's something, I mean, honestly, we're trying to look at as well, going into next year with our budget changing. But that's where we want to go before the voters. We think that fire is very important and we think that honestly, most people would be willing to support it, but that's where I need to know the scope of what I'm looking at around us, because currently we are funding it fully. And yes, it is very expensive, but I'm not, as somebody that's had a fire in their life and also a lot of people around us, I see the value. And so you guys as a board need to decide that direction. And so, yeah, as far as your question, Jason, yeah, I'd heard that before. That's part of the reason I'm here today. I was told I should be here to listen about what your guys' decision is going to be. I'm not suggesting that's the right route to go. What I'm saying is you guys have to determine what you want your future to be. You're gonna have better support and everything if you have people here that are able to do this, but if they don't have the equipment to be able to cover it anyway, you're gonna be bringing people in from outside. So really, you gotta have the equipment, you gotta have the people, and you gotta have the money. So that's where you guys have to decide, yeah, is there a SAD that has to be increased? Maybe. But good luck having that happen right now. So you're gonna look at where you are right now with money.
Can I answer your question though? I have no idea where it operated from. I have no idea where it came from, but it is something that I had heard.
Well, I mean, I can ask the question a different way. You know, what I had heard was that the 3 townships had agreed to take up to a third of our township. Like it was, they had already been consulted and said, yes, we'll do that. So I'm curious, Matt, you obviously can't speak for other townships, but for
Yeah.
Bloomingdale,
Asked about this, and I said that at this point, I have zero interest. I'm willing to listen and see what you guys are wanting, and then I can reapproach my board. My fire chief and their people. But that's where in the end, I was approached and said, hey, would you guys have interest in Columbia? And I just said, I have to talk to the people and figure it out. I talked to my fire chief.
as a whole, you said no, but you did say as a partial, the answer would be
They,
yes.
what their discussion with me was, is I have zero interest in taking overhaul. We want to stay within 6 miles.
Right.
Our fire station's there, so we could come in a little bit, but that would be the extent of the interest we have. Now, nothing farther, as far as the battery station and everything, we have zero interest in being involved in that, to be very honest. Would need to be trained, to be able to support if something like that would happen. But really, in the end, what I was told is, you should probably be there just to hear what the direction is. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to listen, observe, and if I can give input, I'm willing to, but that's where earlier I said, we have zero interest in the whole thing. Just where that's out there and everybody knows. But really, you guys should make this decision on what's best for you and your people, not by our outside influence. So, but yeah, that's where somebody approached me, I had a discussion, and then I came here to hear what you guys want.
Are you at liberty to say who approached you?
Not,
I didn't know anything about this until I got JC's email, and I said, what is this?
Yeah.
I had no clue. It totally,
So somebody else other than you and I talked about just everything about townships and somebody, so it wasn't me that you're talking about
Not-
joining 3, because I don't.
I had
know
other
those three.
conversations with other people besides
Okay.
you, so that's where I'm coming here and saying, I wanna know what's going on.
Okay,
And that way you guys can make decisions.
Bloomingdale, I've talked to Chris. Okay, and he just, and I interrupted the meeting, I didn't know they were, so I.
Well, that's where I think there's a lot of disconnect in the board here, because fire chiefs are hearing not from you guys.
Right,
They're
right.
hearing from the outside.
Right, yeah,
And then you guys are trying to make decisions, well, these are your people that you need to support, they need to support them. So really, you guys need to be having these discussions with them about the direction of the future, and they need to be part of the input. If they're excluded and it's like, okay, we're the board, we get the money, we get to decide what happens, there's gonna be a big disconnect, and you guys need to be having these conversations.
you're right.
Because they are smart, they know money, they know stuff. So before we decide, oh, we need to go ahead and split everything up, be like, hey, what can we change? And what can we do? Because this is our other option, and then they can be a part of the
Well,
conversation.
that's why I had mentioned, maybe we should have a meeting with the whole department.
Yeah.
At the station and go over this stuff and say, okay. What is your future look at this? You know, and, let us know, and then we can figure out what direction we need to go.
Yeah, well, that's why I think like having a meeting like this, it's just gonna keep piling up. And that's why I think it'd be important to kind of model it like the planning commission, we have a board representative. So have one person meet with the fire department and just start strategizing these different things instead of getting all these people involved with all these different ideas. You can have a more focused group and then have that board representative come back to the meetings and be like, this is what we're working on, this is what we're hashing out, like, then get the board
Okay,
input from
okay,
there.
okay.
I think just having too many people involved, it just gets muddied.
Yeah,
uh-oh.
I'm from my chair today.
Oh, Lord.
so, let's see if we can maybe figure out if we're doing D1 or D2 or whatever, wherever we are.
Well, I think we're on. Yeah, D,
You're on D1 still.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So
Okay,
Yeah,
step 1, keeping current services.
Welcome to Columbia.
Keeping current services. Yes?
Yes, we would like to keep current services.
Increasing funding villages. Probably no. Hard no.
Wait a second.
Oh, I'm just saying discussion going from there. We can have discussion on these things.
Jason, you had something to say, go ahead.
Well, I just candidly don't know what we're doing right now. I mean, I appreciate you trying to wrangle the herd here, but what happened is that you just said, do we keep current services? And Mary said yes, and we moved on.
Well, we're
We,
keeping our
we decided we wanted a
services.
fire department. Are you saying
Right,
we should
that's
say
what
we
I'm
don't
saying.
want a fire
I
department?
think you guys.
It's a yes or no. Do we want a fire department?
No, that is not what was just said, Mary. I hate to disagree with you, but.
Services is keeping the fire.
Change
Okay,
it from
so-
keeping.
Then-
services
So
to fire.
are we
The
saying that
strategy is we wanna save what we have.
we want to maintain our own township emergency services department and manage it ourselves?
6 square miles or 36 square miles.
Which means we do not want to entertain any merger or do not entertain any shared
Correct.
territories. We are saying we are going to keep and maintain and manage and fund our own fire department.
At this
Correct.
current time, yes.
That needs to be taken to a vote, I believe.
I think it should be voted on, you guys should vote. That way you
Can we
have.
do a
record.
vote if we didn't put it on the agenda?
Yeah, you can vote if you don't have it.
You need a motion, you need a second.
Well,
Make a motion.
because we have an ordinance that says we will provide fire protection. So
Well, but we can provide fire protection in a lot of different ways, Mary. We don't.
Right.
It says immediate emergency services. Our ordinance is emergency services.
Oh, that's right. Christie
Medical and
changed that.
MFR, fire and MFR. That's not it.
I think you guys need to split all of these apart, and you need to vote on each one, and that way there's a record, and that way you guys are being held to task as you move forward. I'm saying from the outside, but for me sitting here, when the residents come to you and say, this is my thought, be like, we had a meeting, we had a special meeting, we made these decisions. I know, Gary, I know you keep saying, I'd like to have a meeting with them. Well, really, that's where you're here today. Everybody's here today. They made a special attempt to be here. You just start making decisions today because we're getting to the end here, so.
Well, Matt, I appreciate that input, but I also want to just say that in my opinion, this board also has a history of rushing decisions. And a lot of the things that we're in right now related to the fire department are based off of rush decisions.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we need to prolong this because obviously we need to move quickly. But I just, Mary, I can sense your frustration that you want this to move along and we got to do this, but we are talking about the pinnacle issue of how we are going to solve all these other problems. If we're saying we are going to solve them through maintaining and operating our own fire department without any other mergers or anything like that, that's fine. I think that's the first thing we need to vote on then, because anything we do that is outside of that doesn't need to be considered or discussed. So it's a big deal and I don't want to rush it.
I agree with that they have made rush decisions. That's what happened with the full-time person. It was brought, for the record, it was brought on. And what it was brought to the board and agreed to is completely different than it is now.
Correct.
So you are correct that we should not rush. I do agree with that. I just would like to move on. It's 2.5 hours, so I agree. Let's vote on what you think we should vote on.
I just want to make sure everybody's clear on the framework that we are saying we're going to move forward with all future decisions on. Cause it's like we're building a house here.
Yeah.
We need to have the foundation set and established and everybody's understands what it is.
I think the main thing is we've decided we would like to work on continuing having our own fire department. Basically, because all the other options that we had thought may be out there are really not.
Okay.
And, you know, and we have good people. We just have very few of them. Do we need to make some twerks in the way we run it? Yeah, we probably do. This would be the time to do it as you get a new chief in. I'm not saying all those details. I'm not saying we're gonna continue doing exactly what we're doing and expect a different result. I'm saying, as a board, we need fire protection to protect our citizens, so we will work toward that.
Just,
It should be emergency services, that'd be fire and.
I will
I'm
move.
not gonna vote that we always say, who changed it to emergency services? Our ordinance said fire.
That's another thing. It's like, what do I call this thing?
When we picked up the MFR part of the fire department, we went from the fire department to emergency services. We had to make a emergency manager over the EMS portion of it, and that's why the ordinance was generated in 2021.
I'm not gonna agree to anything that ties us into something that we don't have to do. I want the bare bones that we have to do to get started.
I think the board at that time, when we added MFR, that was 2019. The board never voted to change anything to emergency services.
That's just starting, that's just our name, that's all. So it's just the name of who we are, because if you look up Columbia Township Fire, Department, you get the one in Jackson, so.
The ordinance has board authority over emergency.
There it is, she's got it.
But you and Christie changed that, cause you changed it from fire department to emergency
And then
services.
this
I remember when you
says
did it.
Columbia
Who else
Township
had it?
Fire Department, Emergency Services, known herein as department.
Do you see why foundational clarity is critical? Because we're even confused as to what we're saying. When you say emergency services, some people go, oh, it automatically includes medical. And some people say, well, emergency services is just another name for the fire department. So that's why I'm pushing so hard on this. I
Thank
know
you.
it's a grind, but clarity is key for us to set the course.
Right, and I agree.
If we need to debate what emergency services means before we set that course, I think it's important. Like, or that's a subset. We're just saying, we're going to provide generic emergency services for Columbia Township. And then we have to decide what that means later. I guess that's a viable mechanism, but this is exactly the symptom of the problem. We don't have clarity on what we're even thinking and defining for our vision.
Aaron, you have a copy of that for all?
Yeah, I can put it on the TV. I can print it too.
I sent that to everyone last night.
The one you sent out was not the adopted
It
one.
was not correct.
It's the one that was on the
We had it for a
website.
year.
Do you see what I mean, Mary? Cause if
No,
we say,
I
if we
agree.
vote on emergency services and then
I
we decide we don't
you're
want,
correct.
we don't want medical, someone go, oh, wait a minute, you voted on
said-
emergency services. Voted for that. So
No, I agree.
I'm just trying to make sure it's crystal clear what we're doing.
I agree, and I appreciate
Right
that.
there.
It's just that.
Okay, ordinance.
And we're not saying we would ever get rid of it. I just don't wanna tie us into something that we are not tied into. What if the ambulance decides to park itself here?
Said the same thing.
Karen, do
It's
you have
11.
ordinance
11.
2022-001?
What's you guys' understanding of emergency services when you hear that? You said it's just kind of our name, but
That's what it is,
The fire department over in Jackson is called Columbia Township Fire Department.
and they run MFRs.
And they also do run MFR, but we get calls for their fire station all the time.
oh,
So.
is that why we changed the
No,
name?
So, but then we took the QR back on and we were like, okay, well, we're not just a fire department anymore, so we are Columbia Township Emergency Service.
Okay,
That was. Yeah, long and short on it, but yeah, another.
in
fire
the
department-
industry and in the industry in general, in the industry in general, does emergency services mean that there's fire and medical together?
Typically,
Okay,
yes, typically.
Anyway, I was just running through the name.
But it's not saying that if you ever,
We check
for some
Chatty
reason,
Manor.
get rid of medical, it can't still be called emergency services though.
It-
It's still.
Yeah.
Kara, do you have, the ordinance?
She was putting
She's
it up.
pulling it up right now.
Yeah, that's the one I found too.
Okay,
Going
then,
through it, paragraph.
I think all board members should have a copy of that.
Yeah. Well, this is another issue we've had. Things get updated and then we don't know. It'd be nice to have a little book.
okay, that says, Columbia Township shall hereby establish the Columbia Township Emergency Services Department. Emergency Service Department establishment, okay. Is there any other comments or discussion on this or arguments, I guess? Cause if not, I'm ready to make a motion.
you can make a motion anytime, Gary. You can, you're allowed to.
I would move that the Columbia Township continue the Columbia Township Emergency Services Department as is. Subject to changes as needed.
Why wouldn't you just say in accordance with our ordinance? Emergency service ordinance, which tells us what to do.
But I didn't wanna.
That
read-
wasn't his motion.
I know that wasn't his motion. I just asked why you wouldn't say that.
Can I go get the printed before you guys do
Yeah,
it?
Mary, you say about a book. All of our board members have this. We have every single ordinance that we currently have to do. So I think all board members should have this
And then we can update it when they're updated.
all the time.
See,
And
the
that
pro-
way,
Carry it with you, look at
Yeah,
that.
we wind up with different revisions along the way and everybody doesn't necessarily have.
we have the originals and the revised. So we have both.
And you have them on paper.
We have them on paper.
Yeah, see that-
That's why I dragged this big old case with me.
See
So
that?
I'm just saying, you guys as board members, ordinances are for the public, resolutions are for the board. You guys need to know where you stand and what you are supposed to be enforcing by the law.
You see, the problem we have is that in the past, those were digitally kept online. And sometimes they weren't even updated correctly.
So we'll take care of that and we'll
Yeah.
say it stays with the clerk, the next clerk gets that, the next treasurer gets that.
Yep, and these books, we, as a board, I'm very thankful for my board, have gone together and said, we need to start updating these because the old ones are considered civil infractions, which are now considered perjure felonies, which legally you can't consider anything felony as a civil
Yeah.
infraction.
Yeah.
So all of them need to be updated, which takes time and money.
Yep.
So I know I was kind of pushing you guys in doing this. Honestly, if you don't have the base for where you are, you really shouldn't be making motion or voting on stuff. You need to know what you are voting for, to Jason's point. Because in the end, if you don't know and you make a motion and you can do it, you can change it. The problem is that the next thing you have on here is hiring somebody and moving on. And that's where you guys need to know what you are you're holding your public and telling them what you're gonna do for their sad money they're paying for.
Well, Chatty Hattie says emergency service means the public services that respond quickly to urgent and dangerous situations to protect life, health, safety, and property.
Generic.
Very generic. It's all Chatty Hattie's given me. Sometimes generic is better in these situations.
Keeps it broad, keeps all the options up there.
Are you guys, the motion as stated
No one seconded
was
it.
not
Nobody seconded it.
perfectly worded maybe. Have you guys, maybe the motion should be, are you ruling out already other forms of,
Service
So
or,
I wanna say incorporation, but that's not the word, the structure that we have now. Are you saying you wanna move forward with the structure that we have now?
That's what I thought we were trying
Yeah.
to get to.
two,
Like,
yeah,
we were basically saying, moving forward, we're not gonna consider a merger, we're not gonna consider a fire board, we're not gonna consider letting someone take over part of our township. We are going to solve our problems through the lens of maintaining our own emergency services department. I
correct.
thought that's what we were saying.
Which does not mean you're gonna do everything exactly.
No, and
as
that's
it
the only
is.
problem I had with your motion is
Yeah.
we don't need the word as is, cause
Yeah.
as is could denote, we're gonna do it exactly like
Yeah,
we're doing it
yeah,
now.
You're right.
Which I don't think anybody thinks that's the
Yeah.
case, right? Including you guys.
Wait,
So,
I'll rescind my motion.
or just reword it.
Okay, then,
Well, sorry, I can't, I'm not.
no,
telling you what to do.
no,
Jason, why don't you make the motion?
Okay,
okay,
you want me to make a motion, Gary?
yeah,
All right,
Thanks,
Wait.
Sarah.
Stay sure it's.
Hey, talk slow.
So Gary made a motion, but he rescinded it.
It was close, honey.
let me think, how I wanna do this. I wanna be very careful about this. make a motion that the Columbia Township Board work to solve current challenges facing emergency services by maintaining. I don't like where this is going. I'm sorry. Hang on. I'll just say it like this. I make a motion that we continue to manage and operate our emergency services department as an independent township. And continue to work to solve its challenges through that lens. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Mary?
It sounded good to me, Jason.
I mean, basically what we're trying to say is, and if somebody wants to second it, we can discuss it and then reword it, but we're just trying to say that moving forward, we're
We're gonna
gonna
work on
keep
this.
going the way we're going and solve the problems without any more discussion of mergers or fire boards or whatever.
I will second
Read
that.
back. Exactly.
Motion that Columbia Township Board continue to manage and operate our emergency services department as an independent township and continue to work to solve its challenges through that lens.
Sounds very Jason-esque.
Karen, you're a words. Okay, sorry, that's my motion. Does anyone want a second? And then we can.
Mary seconded,
Seconded.
Okay,
discussion.
Do we really need the latter part?
in terms of solving our challenges, maybe not.
I don't think it hurts.
I mean,
I think we need to definitely have the part where we're gonna work with our fire department. We're not, you know, that'll give them some reassurance too, that we wanna work together here.
Can you read the motion one more time? Sorry.
Motion that Columbia Township Board continue to manage and operate our emergency services department as an independent township and continue to work to solve its challenges through that lens. You can just erase through that lens.
does the independent township make sense? I guess what I'm trying to say is we're gonna take care of our own emergency
We're in
services.
the
That's what I'm
box.
trying to say there.
We're gonna get rid of all the extra stuff that that's
Floating
floating
around.
around here.
Right.
Yeah, we're just committing to solving the problems
Internally.
internally with the current structure that we have.
You could not like that with the current structure.
Because we're not saying anything about what it looks like. We're just saying,
We're gonna,
we're gonna.
let's just get rid of
we're gonna
that stuff.
Keep this, we're gonna keep this approach. We're keeping what we're doing.
Kara, do you have input here on the last part of it at all, or?
You said something about the independent township. You could take that out and say, continue to manage and operate our emergency services department with the current structure. And continue to strategize moving forward.
I
Can
would
we just say
recommend
we-
that you had it in accordance with our
Or
ordinance to reaffirm the board's authority over emergency service department dated February 2022.
Okay.
Why is that important to you? Is there a clause in there that they might regret later?
Section 10 is probably where it's
One.
going. Wherever state law regulates a higher standard or requirement is provided in the fire prevention code, the higher requirement or standard that may prevail.
This one's outside.
no, I just printed
She
it
just grabbed
from
and printed
the-
them, yeah.
That's another issue.
And it should be a maybe.
Well, the ordinances can always be changed.
I would say the one thing that is still kind of not driving for me is the word structure, because if we say the current structure, does that imply we're leaving the operational structure in place as it is? Which maybe we do, but like
Maybe
you
we do
said,
it,
I don't
maybe
want to
we-
be handcuffed to anything. We want to be able to consider all options.
Other than outside entities.
Right,
You can change it from independent township to just independently.
There you go.
Fire department is dedicated by Michigan state law. You have to have a fire chief. You have to have a chain of command. That's kind of what. the-
yeah, no, I'm not talking about changing that. I'm not even really talking about,
Motion that Columbia Township Board continue to manage and operate our emergency services department independently. And continue to work to solve its challenges through that lens.
Do you have to even have the second sentence?
probably not.
Let's just make it real simple.
We're just saying, we're gonna
Independent.
continue to operate independently.
Correct.
Okay,
So you wanna, should we rescind that one and redo this one? Because I think the shorter the better here.
I just
Just
think
accept it, okay.
if you both,
Yes, I still second that.
Any more discussion on that? Yes, no?
No discussion.
No more.
None for me.
Let's do a roll call vote. Jason,
Yes,
Mary,
Yes.
Cara?
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
and Ken's a yes.
So whoever the little gossipy chatty hatties are that are making stuff up can now stop.
I
Or
like
meet
how
with
you
us
look
and
at
let
the
us know when we told you
I,
that.
I appreciate everybody working through that. I do
Thank
think it
you,
was
Jason.
important.
You
I
had
do
good
think it was
points.
important.
You had good points. I was wrong. Patience is not my.
Now,
well,
Are we on number 2 yet?
no. Well, I guess, I mean. Sucks because my minutes and the items are different than the
You
agenda.
handled one part.
Yeah.
Now is increased funding, sad millage.
Yeah.
Then you're on the next.
Keep
So
rubbing it in, Jay. Keep rubbing.
D1, increasing funding millages. And these are discussions, I mean, yeah, it's important to have a motion, but keep that in mind as well.
These are just
I
discussions.
mean, I do think though, these, I don't know how this was written up. I presume this agenda was written is these are all things that we could potentially discuss and we probably need to discuss at some point. But honestly, I think now that we've established, we are not going to consider any other options. We're going to handle this internally. I feel like we can now say, what is the next best step to do that?
Correct.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that we go to the funding millage. It's like, to handle this internally, now what is the next thing we need to do? Is it hire a chief? Is it peel apart the budget and figure out where the real problems are? Is
But we
it
can do it a budget.
to establish what Kara's saying is make a board representative? Like, what is our process now?
Well, I think my comment is, I think the next step would be to fill the chief's position. Because that's coming due.
Okay,
And I don't know if you want to advertise on that or not. Probably some people do and some people don't. I just think it's good business to do that.
We
And-
didn't do it when we hired JC. We took
Right,
Dave's recommendation.
Well, okay.
that's what I was just wondering, are you obligated to or not?
We are not
What-
obligated.
No, I don't think so.
Like you have to get bids for purchases.
Right,
but
this
you
isn't-
have to do that for personnel.
I don't think it's, I mean,
Well, that's not.
it's not been that way for every position, so,
It depends on
Okay.
the resolution. that you're-
Right. right.
So I guess you guys need to be aware, if you have a resolution that says that all positions have to be either voted in or it has to go through the process.
I mean, you can hire a deputy without it coming to the board.
Yeah,
But
that's,
that would be.
Well, that's you know, but anyway.
I would rather not waste taxpayers, money.
I don't have an issue if John Taylor Mackey wants to assume the position that was recommended.
are you gonna talk about salary at the same time? Nobody's been.
We're gonna do that when we have a budget meeting.
What, Joe?
So we're talking about the chief, right? So, I just can't refer back to the third paragraph. There's a plan right there in GC Center.
We're not gonna, I mean, we have to,
Right,
that in
right,
report.
yeah,
yeah, we all got that email.
okay.
Yeah.
That was just.
I think that we can work through the budget stuff at our budget meetings. I think we can take apart the budget and come up with a plan on who oversees that. We have an accountant that we pay every month. She could be the, liaison also. I think all the structural kind of stuff of that we can work on once we have a new chief.
Well, with regards to JC's email, do you meet the qualifications as a chief? Like, cause it kind of says you
He-
need more training.
Well,
like-
some of
Just
those
one of
too,
those, one of those deals where, I mean, we're losing a person that has
Right.
33 years of experience through every facet of,
But you right now
Well,
could become a
as far as
chief.
certifications go, yeah.
Right, okay.
the other thing Jeremy said when he was here is that some of these qualifications that were listed, you can do over a 3-year period.
Yeah.
You don't have to have exactly
State
everything
issue,
right now.
yeah.
That's right. So. Whether that fits you or not, really doesn't matter at this point. If you've got the general qualifications that would allow that,
Jeremy said that you were the only one that fit the criteria.
For recite,
Well-
that's him who has the whole catalog. Yeah.
Well, I don't know who said it, but just to really be clear and emphasize the point. JC's recommendation is that Jeremy becomes chief for 1 to 2 years. So I
Yeah,
just wanna make sure everybody read that part of the email.
yeah, yeah.
And it's been stated publicly,
That
so.
was what we were.
That's what I was trying to refer back to.
Right.
Well, I don't know, is that beneficial to have him come in for a couple years?
so he's still the assistant chief. I mean, he would still
Right.
help.
Right,
Either way, yeah.
like, would it be better to
He's
just
still
start
taking
fresh
time
with
with
you,
it.
or how, like,
No matter what, he's gonna be here.
Right.
For the
So
next 2 years.
Okay.
he's already said that in advisory role, I mean, JC's not leaving, JC's becoming the grandpa.
Right,
I mean, he's still 1.1 miles from the
Right.
station.
Have they warned, has JC told you about our 3-hour meetings on Tuesdays, and are you ready to work with this?
As long as you guys need to just know, I still need to be fire training to be a firefighter, so sometimes I still have to go to fire training.
well,
Which you
you're
guys
paid,
do on the opposite
Yes.
Tuesdays, so there you go.
you're paid to could.
Maybe we sort out another day to do that together. I don't know, we'll see.
Okay,
Maybe we sort out a new day to do something, or I don't know, we're just,
Well, training's
We're
usually
pretty-
not on.
Yeah, it's not.
we're pretty early
That's
in
just
the
true.
process of transitioning, I mean, JC told us about it.
Get this
Before
going.
before he notified out here, so.
I'd like to make a motion, or do you, Jason,
No,
do you
go
have?
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I never wanna stop anyone from making a motion, cause that's how you get business done. Go
Are-
ahead.
are we in E?
Oh, yeah, we're in E
Yeah.
somewhere. We're not gonna post it, right?
Correct.
We are not gonna.
Okay,
post it.
so E1 we're not doing, determining existing members of emergency qualified, we've done that.
Yeah,
Discussion department membership and strategy for retaining current members, we're not, I guess we're on E2.
I'd like to make a motion. That John Taylor Mackey become the next chief. For Columbia Township, effective January 1st, 2026.
I'll second that motion.
December 31st, 2025?
2020, no, January 1st, 2026.
Oh, I thought you said December
January
31st, sorry.
1st.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay, so we have a second. I have some discussion points.
Ken.
You seem like a really great guy. I don't know you at all, though. I believe it's prudent. As an employer, we're essentially hiring somebody. I don't know what the protocol is on a municipal body, but I feel like he should at least have an interview of some sort. Like me
He's
to
already
go,
employed.
he's qualified, well, he's qualified, but we're talking about solving a lot of big issues with the fire department, and some questions I would ask him is like, John, what's your vision for emergency services in Columbia Township? Where can we improve? What have we done wrong? How do you think we can run better as a business? You know, he's qualified to be chief, but doesn't it seem like we should kind of install somebody as chief, making sure we fully understand where they're going to take the department? That's one comment. Number two, I know we're under a crunch. If we want to do this, I would consider maybe having it be an interim position so that it gives us time to figure out these other things. Because here's some for instances. What if we decide to change the pay structure of how we pay our chief because of budgetary reasons? That's going to impact him, and he might want to know that before he takes a job as chief. So it's like a web of
So
things.
should I add the salary on the motion?
Oh, but we don't.
I don't know. I'm just telling you the reasons why I don't know that I'm fully ready to vote on this, because we're in discussion mode. Again, you seem like a great person. I'm just used to having like an employment process where you interview and then you discuss and
Even the transfer station, we did it as interim for 3 months.
And then we
So, I
never
mean, this
interviewed
is a
him, we just
bigger-
hired him.
I
Any
do
others?
like the idea, for the record, of trying to get somebody on board as quickly as possible, because the clock's gonna tick very fast on JC's timeline. And we need to get somebody in there to hold things up, but I just wonder if we need to put some guardrails on it to say, hey, we're gonna do this for 6 months, or we do a public interview right now. I don't know.
I'm prepared.
I mean, seriously, did you come here thinking you might get offered a job? Like,
Um,
again, we're moving pretty fast.
I mean, JC and I and Jeremy and I and department wide, we've had the conversations. As far as, I mean, there's a couple of tick marks that you hit in your conversation: recruitment, retention. Why do we have a revolving door? And the revolving door is kind of a monster that we've kind of made ourselves, because there's 24 hours in a day, and you can only have so many people on your roster. Well, where do they work? When do they work? One of those deals. So I mean, I would like, over the next few years, I would like some more permanent staples in my emergency services, the medical portion. I do have a few really good ones, and say I've got Joe and Steven, and we've got Jeremy, of course, who's a medic. JC, I don't know the level that JC is gonna back off, but I do know for the short term, JC is gonna go be ground. I guess as far as where do I see us going in the next 5 years, it's kind of, where do you allow us to go? I know that I saw it on here, the shed. The shed, over at Station 1 needs to be knocked down. The shed is a lean-to that is protecting what? No. And we've asked for a shed just for kind of storage over at 2. The tough part about Station 1, and I don't know if it's more, we've kept it just because it keeps the lookup for, oh, hey, the fire department is here. I've got 2, maybe 3, if he's at home, I guess I could sanction sending him to 1, but we don't have anybody really over on this side. I've got 1 guy that permanently goes to 1. Dave lived 2 miles from 1. It was a really good thing for him, our former chief before JC. A lot of the areas are going towards a bigger building, a municipal building. I know that we've talked about getting numbers together for at least not rebuilding 2, because 2's bones are good, but reimagining 2 and maybe expanding it different ways into our property. I think that would be something that I would be really interested in doing.
I mean, someday I would love to bring this place a new-ish truck. But I mean, it'd be something I would have to sit down and really, but those are the things that I can think of off the top of my head that really stick with me.
What's your motion?
So I think the board's been asking, how do we save money? I know there's
Yeah,
a
what
vision
was
of
it?
moving forward, but it takes money to do that.
Let's get you
also,
moving.
So that's where the money going towards personnel, the money going towards.
Okay.
That's okay. And I mean, and then that's a tough place to go too, because like Bloomingdale, for instance, I know that you guys are volunteer. I know that you have been volunteer for your entire existence. I also know that 3 or 4 of the youngest bodies on Bloomingdale are on full-time departments, and that's how they pay it. At least a couple of them are
Just-
full-timers.
Hosier's full
I know
time.
Hosier's on Saugatuck, like that kind of thing, like, I mean, and the having people during the day is just, it's always been a problem. And it's a problem for small departments nationwide. I don't know, volunteerism is getting harder.
Spade.
The culture currently coming up is not a free culture. A lot of the younger kids are, what can you do for me? So I value every single young kid that we get in. Whether it be Jason's son that we've been using as a training dummy for the last 8 years. Who is now a firefighter. Well, when he turns 18, he'll be a legal firefighter. And he will also have his medical license right here. There you go. Yeah.
Okay, there is a motion on the table. Has there been a second?
Yes,
Okay.
we're in discussion.
We're in discussion though.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I didn't. Yeah. I think your point is well taken in the what's the word I want? In the sector or in the private world where you have maybe people to interview and that sort of thing. But also there are positions that are filled within the company because of their knowledge and expertise and longevity and whatever the case may be. So I get both sides of that. But I think that based on information, I think that John Taylor Mackey's a good choice.
Can I respond to that before your question, Karen? Will you remember it? Okay, just to be clear, I'm not talking about internal or external hires. I'm just saying,
Vision.
as a general principle, hiring someone's really easy, getting rid of them is not.
Yeah, okay.
So if we hire the wrong person, we might be setting ourselves up for a lot of headache. And I'm not saying you're the wrong person. I'm being cautious. And so like, I want to know a couple of other things, a couple of quick questions. And maybe this is where we're interviewing you or I'm interviewing you. I don't know. I know in the Brotherhood, chain of command's a big deal. I get it. If JC recommended that Jeremy become chief and we vote to put you in as chief, what sort of ripple effects does that have in the fire department?
So we've had, as far as what your guys' email was today, no matter how much you dug into it, like, I mean, right before we got to this point, him and I rediscussed that portion. The way that we've been talking about it, I mean, Jeremy, no matter what, he's coming to the end of his career as well. He's been doing this, I mean, and he's done what JC has done on a far more chaotic scale.
Yeah.
He was the medic up in a 76-mile area by himself for however many years up in Alaska. Jeremy has said that he supports me taking over, and he would continue in as the advisory role on that as well. So, I mean, he's promised both, well, the officers, including JC, that, I mean, he's not going anywhere immediately anyway, and he has no problem being in that advisory role. I don't want to speak for him whether he would like the chief position or not,
Yeah,
but yeah.
Would he?
that's a question for him, because
I feel like we talked about it at the meeting.
I mean, I know JC recommended it. I think at the last meeting, Jeremy kind of said, I'm open to that as a possible option. But
that's
my
more-
whole point here is like, we're trying
There
to,
would be, it wouldn't be a ripple.
It's not, yeah, it
Okay.
would be a ripple effect, and it's more of, that's not the first choice for him though either, because he's been given chief positions, opportunities since he's been on this side, and he turns it down every single time.
okay,
He's already been the battalion chief, he's already been there, done that, and this is one of the plans we have talked about, 'cause we created better, best, good plans in our meetings, and one of our plans was, John, you take it, Jeremy, you're on deputy chief, and advise John for 2 years, and then after that, then we just kind of fill gaps as we go.
so is that a package deal? Do we have to have Jeremy as deputy chief?
Yeah,
We do.
and yeah,
So that's we're not just hiring John, we're hiring Jeremy.
he's already
He
deputy
is,
chief.
he's already deputy.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is my point. We're potentially charting a whole new course for emergency services and we don't know what it looks like yet. I just want to make sure that, because culture is key, and I believe culture is part of the problems that we've had in our emergency services. And I just, if people are gonna be unhappy about decisions and poisoning the well, that's not gonna help our culture. Are you ready to deal with that head on if it happens? Okay. And are you open as chief to supporting any possible decisions we make moving forward on, because we don't know what that looks like yet. I mean, in my mind, I'm a all options on the table guy until I see what is the best option. And I've even thought of things like, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, I don't know what department it was, but some department has a full-time chief who does the medical. Like, what if we say that's what we want? And we want, I'm not suggesting this, by the way, I feel like I always have to qualify hypotheticals, it's a hypothetical, but what if we said, we want to move to be a volunteer fire department and we want to have a full-time chief? Are you willing to support something like, are you willing to support whatever we kind of think? You can always quit, I guess, but I'm just trying to see how open you are.
I'm willing.
Because I think part of our problem is past baggage. We carry past baggage from fire department administration to fire department administration. This is not just JC and David, but it's like all that carries over. And it kind of, that's why we get status quo type of scenarios. How open are you to thinking outside the box, I think is how Mary said it.
I'm open to conversations about it.
Okay.
As far as just always being fully on board, probably not. I'm willing to talk.
Knowing, of course, we're not the experts of fighting fires or saving lives.
And that's kind
That's
of
not
why
it.
I'm wary of just going, oh, absolutely.
I get it. I get it. That was a poorly phrased question. I'm sorry.
Would it be good practice to make this vote at a regular meeting? I mean, I don't wanna kick the can down the road, but I feel like it would be good to make it
This is a
official.
regular meeting.
Well, I mean, in October, before like more people and stuff.
You're saying make the hiring vote at the next,
Yeah,
Meeting.
just, I don't know.
With JC and Jeremy here.
Yeah.
I don't think you have any other choices, John.
No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, is
think
it good?
John's, actually good choice. I think Jeremy's gonna stay on and support John in any manner that John needs it, and I think he's got JC for his guidance too. So I think this is the best of all worlds. Is if our fire chief right now, JC, is recommending Jeremy to be there. With Jeremy only in an interim type position for a couple of years, but Jeremy himself said that, hey, he could be fire chief now, and in a couple of years, he could get all the rest of the qualifications, and he could be fire chief. So there's really no reason not to appoint him now. He's got the two best firefighters in the state of Michigan to guide him for 2 years, and I think we ought to go ahead and set it in concrete.
Karen,
Thank you. I personally think this is a good choice, move in this direction. I understand the idea of a little bit of interview. And you kind of hit on what my question was all along, is because you've been working with two more senior people as mentors. If you like leapfrog into the position, will you be able to stand your ground if you don't agree with one of them?
Well, and that was why I gave Jason the answer that I gave him. I need to be at least ambiguous. I do have to at least give my 2 cents. I do have to, you will get all my brain cells something just is not gonna work out for us.
That's what we want.
One of those deals, so, you know,
Yeah.
I've kind of, I took over as the training coordinator for Van Buren County. And I've been dealing with the Old Men Chiefs now for almost, I was 6-7 months now, so. No, I feel like I'll be all right.
Yeah, cause part of it, right at the beginning, what I said is there's always been this wall between the department and the board, and the hope would be that the wall.
So let me explain the wall, because Mary touched on it at the beginning of your guys' meeting. She went to Decatur, and Decatur's chief, well, I know he's a great guy.
Well, in
well-
full disclosure, I stopped at a garage sale.
Yeah,
And
sure,
he was
but
like,
one
yeah.
of those deals where
I
it's
didn't go
just,
meet him.
it's just like volunteerism, it's a tale as old as time. You find the governing body, do they actually have your problems in mind, or do they have their own, and they need to just make sure you take care of theirs? So it's one of those deals where it's an experience thing. I mean, I've had my good interactions with the board over my years, I've had bad ones. I've had good ones with Breezeville, I've had my bad ones, and it's one of those deals where, I think the wall can be taken down, but it has to be a mutual respect, not a, hey, I'm your boss,
Mhm.
cause you're not. I mean, technically on paper, you might seem that way, but as a boss,
Explain that.
well, because as a boss, wouldn't you need to know what my job actually was? Like firefighting, you said you're not a firefighting professional or a medical, one of those deals, and I think that's where the disconnect comes. Because most fire departments deal with a bunch of people that have never done it. But they're telling you, well, this is what you need to do it though. So it's one of those where I think the wall can come down
Yeah.
as long as the mutual exclusivity of. They aren't just sandbagging me because I told them that my truck has 3 wheels and one is one of my firefighters running down the road. Or you guys are coming at me and going, hey, how on earth do you already have $200,000 spent? And it's the first week of the year, what is happening? Like, there has to be the mutual respect point of being able to go back and forth with each other and understanding that I know what I'm talking about, and then you know what you're talking about. Just on that note, it's something that I've always dealt with. I mean, I'm from the UP, I'm from the Keweenaw Peninsula. All of them are volunteer, and the board's lord over them. It's been a much better experience here, but I've seen some interactions that could go either way, and that was under a prior regime. But, some people tell us, you get that, hey, but we pay your salary, we come first. I mean, and you do, but so do we pay to be your guys'.
Let's get
people
this
as
straight.
well.
The taxpayers, we're all working for the taxpayers. We're
Exactly.
all on taxpayers. side.
Exactly, I pay to be your guy too, though.
Right.
So one of those deals. So I think it's just the workers worrying about the input from the uppers. And it's always been 2 closed off societies that don't want to accept each other's.
I think that is I'm so glad this came up. I'm really glad this came up, and I'm glad to hear your views on this. Because I think this is a question that would need to be asked of anybody that wants to accept the role of chief. I mean, I don't know where the breakdown has happened, because I think everybody up here to a T respects the hell out of what you guys do and are glad that there's people out there that are willing to do that. And that goes without saying. I think from my perspective, at least, where the breakdown seems to occur, or the wall goes up or whatever, is it's not just, I mean, it is on paper, but it's an actual fact. Like, we are your employer. We get to vote whether we hire you and fire you, and we get to vote on how you spend the money. I mean, that's what an employer role is. So
Absolutely.
those 2 things have to exist mutually, like, because I think what I've observed, both when I was on the board and when I would come to meetings, there's always been this sense that if the board ever questions the fire department about anything, it's like, you guys want babies to die, don't you? Like that. No, seriously, that's exactly what it feels like. You don't care about your people. And we have to get rid of that. I agree with what the sentiment of what you're saying, and I don't know how to do that. But there has to be a mutual understanding. We respect what you do. From a technical and operational standpoint, we have to give you latitude, but you also have to understand, we are accountable to the taxpayers for what you do, not you guys. They don't come and take you off, or vote you off the board. You know what I mean? So there is a definite hierarchy. There's a mutual respect, but there's a hierarchy that also needs to be respected. And I think we're all capable of doing that and giving you guys the latitude you need to have to do your jobs well. And we want, and like Matt said, in an ideal world, we want to try to give you the best equipment, the best support, the best training, the best personnel, all that stuff. But then the reality hits when we don't have the money to do it and we're stuck between a rock and a hard place and our citizens don't want us to raise taxes and we put up a little bit of resistance. There can't be this, well, you don't understand my job. You're not the boss of me, or you're against me. It's not that. It's, we have to understand all that together.
Absolutely.
And as a chief, I would want to make sure you got that.
There
Okay,
has been some real insubordination.
Yeah.
From the current leaders at meetings, ripping into board members. It has been very unprofessional. And that's why you're being asked some of these questions.
And you said about $200,000 the first week of the year. There should never be a situation like that.
I was wild, wild, no, no,
Okay.
100%, no.
There should never
No,
be a situation where the
And
board
then-
isn't aware of major input, and that's where, like, on our end. You guys made a motion, everything else for discussion, on our end, if it's. Immediately needed, I get a phone call and they say, this is what we need, and I say. All right, we'll make that happen. That way the board is brought into the conversation.
Right.
Because when we're just blindsided with a cost, I mean, we've had some pretty major things happen. We've dealt with them because we figure that it's important for our people. But there are other parts of it where like, you know, we don't have to do this right now, so we're doing this. And that's where it becomes a business decision and the board members are responsible to the taxpayers. Because in the end, you guys both pay your money. You're the ones accountable.
Yeah.
And so in the end, you need to make a partnership with this board. You have your guys behind you and they have to support you, but you gotta be the one that is unfortunately in the middle. And so that's where he just even said about, what if we look at putting a volunteer fire department? You really skated around that. Because it's a difficult, unfun conversation.
Yeah.
But the fact is that in the end, you'd be the one that would get from both sides. If they say this is what we have to do as a chief, your directive is to follow their lead. And you can't go and start a community event to destroy and to remove everybody if you could, but it's gonna be very, very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he mentioned, and I'm 100% agreeing that there has to be a mutual agreement here, that we. Yeah, the board is responsible to the taxpayers. But we're also responsible for the guys in the fire department and the equipment, so there has to be a mutual understanding between us. And I don't like the wall at all. I mean, I don't like that. There's no reason for it.
And everybody wants for the community's sake.
Correct. Correct.
Actually want the same thing, they just might go about it differently.
Yeah.
They go about it differently until you say, hey, we're cutting your budget, or we're cutting your salaries, because you have to.
sure.
Okay, so any more discussion? Should
Is
we
that
take-
interview enough, or do you?
I think you guys have gone two ways. You've made a motion that you hire him, and then you've also referred back to the email about hiring Jeremy, and then him being trained the next 2 years.
The motion
The
on the
motion
table
was
is,
seconded for him to hire.
The motion is to hire John.
as of
Jeremy
January
to
1st.
be an assistant to him is gonna happen no matter what. That's what the email's about.
Wouldn't it be
JC is
true
gonna
that it
help
would
him
be
also.
His choice, who the officers are?
It's his choice on who the
Doesn't-
officers, it'll be his choice on January 1st on officers.
Yeah, I'm sick.
They
I-
can do anything.
I select them and then I ask you guys about them too, so one of those is, but I. Regardless of the turbulence that's happened behind the scenes with you guys or anything of that sort, Jeremy is extremely valuable to me. He's everything that Joe is. Joe came in as a cadet, he trained under Jeremy and follows under Jeremy. And we've trained together since Jeremy showed up. And, I think that his guidance is valuable to keep him on as my chief.
Oh, absolutely, and he is very talented.
Yes.
Yeah,
What our ordinance says, the fire chief shall recommend, subject to the township board approval, the appointment of assistant administrative staff officers, firefighters and medical responders as may be deemed necessary. So that's gonna be your job to
Yeah.
decide who you want and then come to the board with it. Now, if they stay the same, I don't think you need to do anything.
So,
Okay,
Last question, who made the motion? Was it Gary or Mary? I
Mary.
can't remember.
I did.
Mary made the
I
motion.
second it.
You seconded it, okay. Do we wanna put any, like JC's recommendation was for an interim chief, maybe that's just because Jeremy was gonna time out. Do we wanna put any sort of interim? Or we're just saying, we're gonna hire you,
I
and
don't-
if 6 months from now, we don't think it's working out, we'll just fire you.
If, exactly it.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that blunt, but like, that would be our option.
I know I slot, but that is an option.
It is. Just being candid.
I'm
I don't
fine,
like-
I'm fine the way it is.
Okay,
I'm fine the way it is,
Well, Mary,
yes.
Ken is a yes, Carl,
Yes.
Jason,
yes.
Gary,
yes,
congratulations.
Welcome.
welcome.
Thank you very much. You better become shaker. I didn't know if they were done talking, so can I? Karen held her arm up really long, so. Thank you.
Hey,
Like I said, I didn't know if there was more talking or.
Chief elect?
Thank you very much.
God be with you.
Point to be a need. You gotta go back to the-
And where are we at?
Well, we're on E3, but now that we got a fire chief, I think, we probably ought to give him some time and have him part of that discussion later.
what discussion?
What discussion?
E3, it says discuss department membership and strategies for retaining current
Yeah,
members
Yeah.
and.
Yeah, let him breathe for a minute.
And then E4, discuss expected wage range for the fire chief position, and that's our budget process, and
Right now, we probably.
John, I'm gonna have to sit down with you and go over the fire budget that we have right now to see if there's maybe something you wanna change from what we have. So that really takes care of E, and now we're into the budget.
I think we should discuss budget at our meeting.
You wanna discuss it at our next meeting?
No, at our budget.
You know, that's a good idea. I'll have time to sit down with John
Yep.
and get some more data from that.
yep,
I do have a couple ideas on how we can come up with a fire truck. It might be premature for this year, but maybe next year. Mary has recommended that we borrow money from the general fund.
No, I did not. Let's clarify.
Okay, clarify. What do you tell me?
Clarify. I said, we are not gonna be able to give money. We may be able to loan money, but we need to check out with our attorney if that's
well,
legal. I'm not, yeah.
We'll check that out, but that,
we're not loaning money unless we have a reason and the ability to pay a loan.
well,
Right, that's a whole nother thing, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying, we're
that's
not gonna
gonna
just
fall
transfer
into
money.
this, when we get into
Budgeting.
Budgeting, right,
budgeting in August when we get into having a election.
Which we still haven't agreed that we're gonna put it on the ballot yet. We need
Oh,
to
yeah.
keep that open.
all options are on the table.
I think we can think outside the box and make some money. I think that there's a way to do this without taxing our taxpayers.
Well, I don't think you're gonna get grant money from what the discussion I had the other
We
day. with
apparently don't
Eagle.
have very good grant writers.
Mary, when I came in, you said that you were able to pull the breakout of the general fund.
Yep, which one
Do
do
you
you
have
want?
that?
Mhm. Which one are you looking for?
I mean, generally speaking, I'm cool with having detailed discussion during our budget meeting, but I just wonder, like, is there any other general conversation we can have quickly? And I'm not trying to drag the meeting out. I've actually got a hard stop at noon, but, we do have an issue where we need some funding We might have future funding. We do have surplus. So I just, again, from a business standpoint, like,
The,
there's something to talk about there in my
Right.
mind.
the CPA says we should at least have our budget covered with the surplus.
Mhm,
We shouldn't go below that.
mhm.
Okay, and the current surplus is,
We are not reconciled the whole month, so it's gonna be off a little
Okay.
bit.
as of last month even, or,
I think it was 700.
And
Okay.
Gary, did MTA tell you something about retaining as your operating?
They did. They said, there does, just because there's, in a nutshell, I mean, I probably can bring it up on my phone, but, in a nutshell, what was MTA said was that just because there's excess funding there, doesn't mean you can use it for whatever. It
Absolutely.
doesn't have to be designated for anything. It can be used, but it should be done, in a proper way.
to be clear, there's not restrictions on how we can
Correct.
use
Use
surplus.
for anything.
Okay,
But they do recommend a healthy balance.
But he's,
because
yeah,
Who knows
yeah.
what's gonna
They,
go.
they did say at least either a year and a half worth of funding, because taxes are only collected once a year.
Ken, what is your projected current operating budget? Or your proposed operating budget for next year?
I'm gonna, while Ken's looking for that,
For the fire department?
No, overall,
I don't think we brought that with us.
No,
The,
I bet Ken has it in his head.
I have it in there. But my battery went dead.
Is it on?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, you'd have to go.
I'd like to make, tell you something, Jason.
Oh, well.
So
See where it says budget? Go that way.
I'm listening.
Go that way.
we are,
Done zoning department?
we have cut and cut and cut the general to save money. I mean, we like basically doged it since we've been here and got rid of lots of expenditures that weren't necessary, and the board members are paid way less than any other board. And we haven't given ourselves raises or anything like that, so we've tried to really, save as much money as possible and be as prudent with taxpayers' money.
He sent the budget.
So I would like to continue to do that and not just, I just don't feel comfortable just giving it anywhere, putting it somewhere else.
38.
We have cemeteries, we have,
I think.
transfer station, we have other things that we owe the citizens to take care of that we are not money-making deals.
Yeah, I'm not proposing any specific
You were
thing
right.
at all. I just wanna know, like, if you're thinking about buying a refrigerator or an oven, you wanna know how much money's in your savings account. I don't know, like, I'm just generally going, again, what are
You wanna give him what we.
what are our options? If we have here's a quick scenario. If we have 700,000 in surplus and our annual budget is 400,000,
We have 500 in surplus. Our annual is about 430.
Well, that's 9, we only have 7, so that's not right.
There's a difference between an ending balance and a surplus.
right.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
No,
What I'm
I'm
trying to
just
say is what our ending balance,
different.
ending balance of this year would be 490,000 if we spend everything. We're not gonna spend everything. So if you go down all the way to the end of the operating. you
The
pass
other
it.
point I'm gonna make is when we brought on the full-time person, the question was asked, and we can all go back and listen to the recording. And I ask it as an audience member, will this affect your ability to buy another fire truck? No, it's in our budget. It's not gonna cost us anything, and that was hired to cut out a lot of other
That's
expenses,
right there.
and that position changed.
789,000.
That was last year.
So I just don't feel like. I just want that out there. So that's 150,000 that could have went toward a truck. So we've got to figure out how we can get that back to put it toward a truck.
I think that's all part of our budget and restructuring
Yep.
conversations for sure. I'm just simply from a 10,000 foot view, if we have, I don't know what the numbers seem to be fluctuating, but if we have 700,000 in our surplus and our operating budgets annually 400,000 or 500,000, let's say, and MTA recommends that we keep 1 year
1.5.
of operating budget, Okay, well, that's
Anyway, yeah,
$700,000.
whatever, it could be, I mean, we can decide that. MTA makes a recommendation, but I'm just trying to think or understand if we do have any funds that could be considered available for whatever we need them available for.
Yeah, I think as a board, you guys need to look at the 15% reduction next year as a real thing.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
there are state requirements for how much you have in savings. And if you fall below that amount, they come in and restructure.
Yep.
So you've got to realize that this is not a,
It's not blow money.
yeah, this is a very, very serious thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it will fall on the treasurer and clerk first, and then it will come after all of it. So. That's where in the end, I'm just saying, it's, you're asking the right question though. Do we have money?
Right.
And that's where you guys need to know. Do you have money to do that?
That's all on the table and factors in our decision. Spending our general fund irresponsibly, in my mind, is equally as egregious as holding on to money irresponsibly that we could spend on stuff that our taxpayers need. So
Right.
it doesn't do us any good to have a giant surplus and we don't do anything with it.
Right.
So,
Karen,
Yeah, and I have a question for you for your worksheet, for the budget on the revenue line. You go from the current year of revenue at 248,902. You find that on your budget? And then your estimate for revenue next year jumps up to 606. Which I think is because you're planning to take a great big piece from general. But then the following year, you've got 414, 421, 430. How do you get from the 200,000-ish sad into the 400-ish moving forward? Why are you thinking you're gonna have double revenue for 5 years after you dig into operating? Are you following my question?
I'm following your question. What I'm having is other revenue coming in to that
200,000?
350,000.
where's that
Okay,
coming
for
from?
the
Where's it coming
line,
from?
you're planning
Yeah.
on robbing from Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah,
And
it might be a
I
loan.
stress the word rob,
It might be a
but
loan.
anyway. So that's for 1 year though. That's your.
And then the
600.
fire department would have the other portion they come up with,
How did they come up? But
with their
then
fund
when it-
balance.
But look at the following years. I understand how you got the 606 and you guys are gonna have to argue about whether or not you wanna do that. But the following years, you have revenue at 414, then 421, then 430. How are you thinking that that revenue is gonna be twice as much as it is now for the next 5 years out?
I believe that we're gonna have a positive, increase on our millage rate to be able to purchase equipment and all the capital improvements that you're gonna have to do over the next 20 years. We are not gonna survive at 2 mil. And we're gonna have a way to be able to get 3.1 mils, and now over the 20 years, you're gonna be able to buy your packs, you're gonna be able to do the maintenance on your trucks, you're gonna be able to do all the things that you have to do over a 20-year period. This portion of the spreadsheet that you're looking at only goes to here, but on my sheet, it goes to here.
Right,
Goes out 20 years, and I'm looking 20 years ahead to
so you
determine.
are planning on raising taxes.
I'm not planning on raising taxes. I'm planning on the residents voting and raising taxes, and if they don't wanna raise taxes, then you really have no money to do it, and you're gonna have to figure out another way to do it, and it's not gonna be.
Well, I
Achievable.
wondered if you were projecting extra tax revenue from Vesper.
No,
You're not projecting that.
no.
that would be a more
We're
likely
gonna get
scenario than a tax
450,000.
increase.
I agree.
You're gonna get 450,000 from
From who?
Vesper, that $2,500 times 200 megawatts, whatever that is. You're gonna still get that.
Well, I'm not gonna base a budget on the fact that we're gonna.
Speculate.
raise
I-
That's
taxes.
the thing, it's.
I didn't base it on that because I don't know if they're gonna go to
Well,
the
that's
state.
why I wondered if that's what you were doing. If
Wait,
were
you just said you don't know if they're gonna go to the state? They already are going to the state.
Have they? They already filed? If they filed, I'll know about it.
Probably within minutes after you guys voted against
Yeah.
the article.
You'll be getting a
Well, there's-
letter if you haven't.
There's other funding from
I expect
Vesper
something to go.
coming in every year anyway. That's the mutual, what's it called?
The
It's like-
community money.
The community, whatever it is, which is $100,000.
I think what Karen's just saying, and I agree, is we should not look at a projected budget that includes an assumed tax increase, because I doubt that's gonna happen.
Right,
Right, it's,
right.
I would go so far as to say, like you just said, we are much more likely to get additional revenue from Vesper than our taxpayers.
Yep,
I feel most comfortable just, planning on what we have.
correct.
For
Oh,
now,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But I
And if it
get,
comes that we don't have a fire department, cause you're saying we can't afford it, then we'll have to deal with that then.
I don't think that's an issue, but anyway.
So you can't afford it.
Well,
but it is good to plan out.
maybe something you'll.
Plan
leave it
that.
in and-
Anyway, I think that F1 we could do at at a budget thing, and that'll give you time to talk with the chief and get things squared away.
This was the longest hour meeting I've ever been
I
to.
know.
I thought Karen's
Who
suggestion.
thought it was gonna be an hour?
I
So
don't know who did it.
we were supposed to discuss, at the next item, G1 about the shed. That's at Station 1. The current chief recommended at least demolishing it. He would like a replacement at Station 2. So we said we would talk about it at this meeting.
Well, I think they just said that it's not, there's hardly anything in it at Station 1, so why do we need one right away at Station 2?
To demolish it, I
I
don't
say right now, it's
Discussion.
just, it's ugly and it's not safe to put
Yeah.
anything in it anyway, so
Yeah.
it would be a waste of money to put anything in.
Especially when we need a roof.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have a problem with,
Battery station.
Or at the station, I was gonna say here.
No, at the station, they need a roof, so we don't need to spend $8,000 on a shed right now.
you can get one a lot cheaper than that anyway.
I don't care if it's 1,000, we need to put it toward the roof.
That, I agree. That's one of those things.
Mentality is why we've been able to build the general operating. When you are careful and you say no to things you just kind of want,
Yeah,
that's the only way you can afford the big picture things.
correct.
Well, and the chief did mention like there was money and like the radios or something, so the
Yeah.
rough money could come from that.
I agree with that, Kara. Here's my theory on that, just so you know, John. Just because it's in the budget, you don't have to spend it. All that money can, just because it's there doesn't mean we should spend it. Every decision needs to be thought of. Wow, do we really need this or should we put it toward the roof? We're not gonna use radios, but we don't need the shed right now. So we don't want to be dripped on while we're trying to do training, so we need a roof, right? That's my mentality. That's what you're gonna have to deal with for the next 3 years. Sorry. So that was my discussion on that. I'm not the only one though. You guys can outvote me.
Well, some of this is just plain common sense for crying out loud.
Have they given you,
Priorities.
have they given you a budget for where they're at for the year?
I have the budget right here. I like your idea though, about maybe we need to just be more involved in the purchases and things. Just so we can be all on the same page, right? So there's not some $4,000 bill. Oh, what the heck? We needed new uniforms or whatever, when we don't even know about it till it's in we've already paid the bill on a credit card, so. I do like that, but yeah, when right now, we're still in the budget, but it's,
Called purchase order.
we're 6 months in. To the year, for our fiscal year.
Okay, so what are we
Do we
doing
have to
with the
discuss
shed?
anything else?
No, we said we would talk about the
Just-
shed, so
Does anyone else have anything to say about the shed? Jason?
Think it can be an independent decision. If it's dangerous and an eyesore and we're trying to fight blight, we should just tear it down.
Is anything in it?
There's nothing in it. he said.
There's a couple small things, but they just need to be taken out. They can be put in the station.
Is
but
it
that-
structurally sound or not?
No, that's not. That's why we.
I can just go like this.
If I came over my tractor, I couldn't pick it up.
if you do, it's probably gonna fall apart.
It'll
That's
be
why
in
we gotta get
pieces,
rid of
right?
it, is because we can store the things we want inside of it, because.
Let it fall down, put it on a trailer and we'll pick it out.
You want me out to get it, if you got it empty, I'll come down and get it out of there. I'll pick it up, get it out of there, put it on my trailer.
I mean, this is the fire department, if they got a full-time guy there, can they deal with this, or does this have to be hired by somebody else?
Well, I'm
Will
gonna
you come
say,
to all of our meetings?
Yeah.
I'm just asking,
All your questions.
and the other part is.
and I'm gonna say, Matt, that we have asked before and we were told that our full-time person is not our Parks and Rec guy or not our maintenance person. So
Yeah.
that's what we were sold on, but that's not how it is.
I'm just asking because if somebody's down there full-time, they're probably looking for something to do, and it's not that bad an idea. We've
And he's
also
done
had
really well with, yeah.
Where we've done control burns on different things, I mean, it's a training thing, I don't know what you'd have to do, you have to remove the shingles from certain
We
parts
got
of
a
it.
propane tank right beside it.
14 degree to a T, and that's, but, I mean, like, if it has to do with the station though, I do station projects, that's something I can handle it,
Yeah,
and organizing that. Has to do with the station, so.
You want me to come down with my tractor?
You can if you want.
We'll
You
put
guys
it on
can
my
take-
trailer and I'll haul it
I
to the
mean,
dump.
the other route I would do is call a dumpster, so I mean, that costs money, so.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys can talk about this later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Stuff, you guys, you can handle it.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, that's my job, maintenance. And buildings. Say, take care.
We don't need to micromanage a shed.
It is township property.
I would say it's not ours,
So-
the reason that we did it.
yeah, thank you.
Right.
If you.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Don't
comment,
public
Karen?
comment.
Kara had a good idea earlier about assigning a board member to be kind of a liaison with the fire department. And I would oppose Ken, I'll go as far as to say that. But I wonder if you guys want to actually vote on that, or if that's something you want to address.
It's already in the ordinance that I work with a.
Big ordinance should be changed.
We probably should change that ordinance.
It does say that. But if you guys want me to, I don't have a problem. I got the background for it, so.
Or we could just rotate, so everybody gets to see it.
I think that's a good idea too.
That might add to
So that way it's not just
I mean-
hearsay, everybody can actually see what we have and see the condition, and when we ask for things, you're like, oh yeah, I do remember seeing that, not looking so good, or. That did look pretty good, I don't think you guys need.
I think we can table that right now.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We can table it.
I did see it, I don't know especially.
So Ken, I'm sorry if that sounds personal, I guess it kind of was, but, other comments though, is generally having this in the workshop format. I thought, I know it went longer than some of you wanted, I thought it was exactly what this needed. And I wasn't kidding, that I appreciated your input coming from another township and hearing your perspective, I thought was helpful. And everybody was respectful to each other.
No, I'm here, you guys are our partners to last, I wanna be supportive where we can be. I think that working together as government gets messy at times, but we can also try to help each other where we can.
Yeah.
I know that the world we're in is a little bit crazy. And if we can communicate, we can get through.
And there may be some collaboration on some other issues that we do.
From the first page.
Did anybody second my adjournment, or are we still here?
I made a motion. Anyone second it?
Second,
To adjourn?
yep,
Got a time?
11:45.
I'm gonna do a vote.
Adjourn the meeting at 11:45. No vote.
Say,
I,
yeah, both, you guys should be doing adjournment, there should be a motion, you should adjourn by
We did.
vocal vote. We
Vocal
do
vote,
serious-
aye.
Long as you're good. Procedure protocol. Sorry, I'm a little bit weird about that.
Hey, I second to that.
Well, John.
Yeah.
Very good. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thank you too. Have a good day.
I know, it's
Yeah,
like,
well.
kind of like a added, it makes
Subject
it.
to the subsequent approval or later, we have to approve it after it's already done.
It's not like a representative, it's more
Well,
like a.
I like.
It's like an emergency
It's
situation.
right up here organized, that's good, very certain.
It's definitely something.
Thank you. Are you in relation to Lonnie? Ashby?
Lonnie, that's my grandpa's brother. My grandpa that's passed away was Lon's brother, so. Lon was the youngest one.
Yeah, he and I went to same class.
Nice, that's good. Everybody knows Lon. Everybody knows Lon.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Ken,
You want a copy of our budget?
what's that?
Want a 20-year copy of our budget?
Sure, I'll take whatever I can
I'll
get.
send you a Excel spreadsheet.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Nope, that's. Yeah, I think budgets are very important. I think that we need to.
Mine goes up 20 years.
Yeah.
For the fire department, I list every equipment, their 15 years comes up, their 10-year maintenance, got all the air.
Does it have a